There you see the final score. Arsenal 4-0 winners. All 4 of the Gunners' goals coming in a 13-minute stretch in the second half. For more on this, we welcome in Stuart Robson and Alex Kirkland to the show. But Craig, I'll start with you. 13 minutes. That's all it took for Arsenal to do their damage in this game.
Well, we sometimes see this from Atleti, don't we? That they're off colour, they're off pace. They are a little bit in awe sometimes of the opposition. I don't know why, although Arsenal are strong. And really, they were pretty uncompetitive for a lot of it tonight. Yeah, Arsenal didn't create a lot in the first half, but they really dominated. Then, they make these changes and then they're wide open. They get done from set pieces, they get done from open play. But I think you've got to give credit to Arsenal. They are, definitely in England, they're the strongest package at the moment. Whether they're going to be the strongest package in the Champions League remains to be seen. That's a different story. But their backline's as good as anybody. They've got a strong middle of the park, and they've got players to come in. Gyökeres worked his socks off. I think the Arsenal fans are taking to him. Got a couple of goals, albeit they were tap-ins, but hey, it's a goal scorer's goal. And all in all, Saka was a threat at times on that right-hand side. Hankel couldn't quite handle him, particularly in the first half. So yeah, I think from Arsenal's perspective, they ground a result out at the weekend against Fulham. They have, completely outplayed, if we're being honest, Athletico Madrid. So they're going to feel pretty good about where they are right now.
How big a statement for you from Arsenal? I mean, you don't usually put up 4 against the Diego Simeone side.
Diego Simeone's size from the past, I suppose. And when I say from the past, I'm probably talking maybe 3-4 years back. Honestly, today, as much as this is a conversation about Arsenal, it cannot be just a one-sided conversation, because what I really noticed from this match is the difference between where Arsenal is and where Atletico Madrid is. And it's 2 completely different levels. And as much as I like Diego Simeone, and as much as I like the fight and the personality and the character that you associate with Atletico Madrid, you also need to bring quality. And I look at Atletico Madrid and I think, you got Julian Alvarez, he looks elite. The rest, not so much. The rest is a players that are serviceable, but they're not at the elite level. And, mind you, physically, they cannot compete. When it comes to the sequence of play that led to the Martinelli goal, Luis Kelly starts running. And he is running at a different speed, at a different pace than everybody else from Atletico Madrid. And it's so easy to see Pablo Barrios struggling. It's so easy to see Conor Gallagher struggling with speed. And then you take that into the attacking third for Arsenal, and how much speed they have in wide areas with Martinelli and Bukayo Saka, and how difficult it was for Atletico Madrid to defend those areas. So you give credit to Arsenal in exploiting those areas and knowing full well that, yes, they can take advantage of set pieces. That's well reported from Arsenal. But they also know that in front of them, they had a team that did not have the resources to really trouble Arsenal. And in doing that, you just go press them high, you go force turnovers, you get in their faces, and for that period of 13 minutes, they did that time and time and time again. They put the match away 4-0. Impressive for Arsenal. For Atletico Madrid, if they needed it, I don't know that they did need it, but if they needed it, reality check.
Robbo, from an Arsenal perspective, were there any boxes that weren't checked today?
Not really. I mean, they did everything right. They were, and I'm going to use 2 words that have just been mentioned there. Atletico were uncompetitive. That's because Arsenal pressed them well and they created openings. But also, they were physically far stronger. And Ali just said that. They were physically far stronger, so they could close the ball down easily. They could run past Atleti players at will. They were much too strong in midfield. As Craig also said, Saka down that right-hand side for the first 20 minutes. Could go past Hancho so easily. Everything was right for us. They didn't play at their very best, but they didn't need to. They were solid defensively. They won the ball back in good areas. They created opportunities without creating too many in that first half. But once they got that head of steam, once they got the crowd behind them, there was no stopping them. Set plays, general play, they were far, far better than Atleti. So good performance from Arsenal.
I think we saw, and Koke's, he's been a great player for them, and he was out the side for a bit, but needs must. He's came back in, he's done well, and played in the Madrid derby and all that sort of stuff. But Arsenal always play free in there, and I think they got exposed in there today. With Alvarez playing further up along with Sorloth, it was Barrios and Koke basically against Rice, Zubimendi and Eze dropping in there. Now, That's hard enough for two guys that can get around the field. That's hard enough if it was Gallagher and Barrios, two younger players, two players that will run all day. But when it's Barrios and Koke and they have three in there and you're getting flooded, that particularly against a side as good as Arsenal, that's difficult, Seb, and I think we saw that be exposed in the middle of the park for long periods today.
Alex, in the past, we've seen Atleti, Diego Simeone's team, compete against the best in Europe. Are they no longer kind of capable of that?
Yeah, listening to the Atletico players speaking after the game, Seb, they sounded really quite despondent. Koke, the captain, was talking about, yes, they had their moments, they had some chances, but I think there's a bit of soul-searching going on at Atletico about what is going on with them away from home, because we're seeing it here in the Champions League, we've seen it in La Liga as well. I think it's 6 games away from home this season, and they haven't got a win. The difference between the team they are at the Metropolitano, and we saw that on the last Champions League Matchday, they won 5-1 against Eintracht Frankfurt, and what they're doing away, losing here 4-0. The difference is really quite stark, and sort of the extent of the collapse today, when 3 of those goals came in 6 minutes. I don't think Atletico have ever conceded 3 goals in 6 minutes in the Champions League before. And yeah, I agree. I think it is a little bit of a reality check. You know, they would want to be a team that can go, if not all the way, then certainly go deep into the Champions League, into the knockout stages, coming up against, arguably the informed team in Europe right now. And like I say, there's a real gap there between these two sides and the kind of levels they can reach.
Simeone is not going to change. He's not going to change for you, for me, or for anybody else.
Yeah.
He is who he is and who he has been. And the problem is that his player personnel, what he has available, doesn't match what he is. At the core, he is a guy that likes to fight, that likes to engage in the physical part of the game, that likes to be able to get in people's faces, that likes the grind. And you're kind of looking at this team and it's like, no, Craig just alluded to it. Koke has been a legendary player for Atletico Madrid, a critically important player for this club. But he can't get on the face of Luis Skelly and stay with him, or with Declan Rice and stay with him. That's physically cannot compete. He just can't. And so you can no longer grind games because you don't have the personnel to do it. You can no longer just absorb pressure because you don't have the personnel to do it. It's not Diego Godin playing in the back. No, that's just not happening. It's not within the personality of this group to do it. So you got to find different ways to go about winning matches. And you look at the way that they played against, say, for example, Real Madrid. And yes, it was at home. And yes, they're a different animal at home. And you see them pressing higher the field. And you see them taking chances going forward. And you kind of go, well, they have it in them. But in order for them to express that consistently, Simeone has got to free them to do that. The tendency of this club is to take a step back. It's rare when you see this team taking a step forward. And even today, even if they had taken a step forward against Arsenal, going back and forth, that still doesn't allow them to get a result because they just don't have the players that can match up physically.
What does it say about, Johnny Cardozo's he's injured, he's not available at the moment, he's one of the summer signings. But what does it say to you as a midfielder who was a relatively big money signing in Conor Gallagher, that a guy in his, 33, Koke, something like that. He's a good passer of the ball, but he just can't get it. What does that say as one of the signings where quite a few quid went out 18 months ago, that an away from home game at a team that's going to be as physical as Arsenal, that you're on the bench? Now that's recruitment, and I'm absolutely sure, and Alex can correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm sure Diego Simeone has a big say in the recruitment at Athletico Madrid when players are signed. And quite a few of those players that they've signed and spent money on are either not available or on the bench. So that goes down to decisions. And when you're signing players and you're laying out this kind of money, for these kind of games, you have to expect to be in the team. So, we can talk about, Koke can't get around the field anymore and he can't do this, but they've signed players to address this. They knew they were going to lose, or they lost Rodrigo de Paul, who was a grafter in there, a World Cup winner, and they've signed players to try and address these issues that were going to come up. And yet these very same players, at their moment of need in the big games, particularly away from home when you're going to be under pressure, are on the bench.
And to your point about recruitment, very quickly there, think about the players. Alex Baena, Thiago Almada. Are these players, when you picture Diego Simeone as a manager, are this the players that come to mind? This sort of player, this sort of style. So it doesn't match. And so I go back to something that I've said about Athletico Madrid over the last couple of seasons. They're in between. They're neither here nor there. They're not an attacking team, but they're not a defending team. And when you're in between, you get found out, particularly and especially by good teams like Arsenal.
But don't get me wrong, I'm not advocating for Conor Gallagher to be in the side as somebody who should be, he should be. I'm just saying, you have spent that money in this position, and he's one of the players who plays now and again, but regularly is on the bench, particularly in some of the big games.
Yeah, on the recruitment thing, Simeone has a say for sure, but we've also seen a number of clashes over the years between Simeone and the club on recruitment. Of course, it was Andrea Berta, now at Arsenal, who was the guy at Athletico in charge of recruitment. Player like Conor Gallagher. I mean, Simeone has never found a place for Conor Gallagher in the team. He never picks him in central midfield. When he does, it tends to be out wide, or more often than not, on the bench. It seems to be he's not a player that Simeone is entirely comfortable with. It's not the first time we've seen that, where a player's come into Atletico, even for big money, and Simeone seemingly doesn't fancy them. So there's always been a bit of friction there on signings. In terms of Simeone's future, we know the bottom line for him, which is and has always been Champions League qualification. He's done that every single season. He gets them into the top four and occasionally beyond that, and a couple of times they've done incredibly well to win the league. Further in the future, there are maybe some big changes coming up at Atletico Madrid in terms of the ownership. There's talk about US investment coming in. We know that the CEO, Miguel Angel Gilmarin, has been looking for a long time to maybe move aside. And so when some of those big changes come in terms of the ownership, maybe there'll be a different kind of pressure on Simeone. But like I say, from the club's point of view, what they demand is Champions League qualification to get the money coming in. And he delivers that year after year after year.
But this kind of makes me laugh a little bit, Alex, in the sense that, this is, is this not smoke and mirrors? Shouldn't he be getting in the Champions League places, having spent... And I know there was a period Atletico Madrid did not, but I'm sure that, and correct me if I'm wrong, I'm sure they were not spending the type of money they are spending now. Athletic Club are not spending that. Villarreal are not spending that. Real Sociedad, who are having a bad season, are not spending that. All the clubs you would expect to be in the round are not spending that kind of money. Nowhere near it. Absolutely nowhere near it. So they should comfortably be in the top four. The big question is, with the kind of outlay they make, it seems, in the last 3 years, season after season, shouldn't we expect a little bit more? Shouldn't we expect more pressure on Real Madrid and Barcelona? Shouldn't we expect maybe a better style of football? Although it has got better, it is topsy-turvy. 1 week it's exciting, 1 week it's open, the next it's what we saw today. So I just feel with the amount they are laying out, just to say, well, I'm getting you in the top four, when they are outspending the other teams out with Barca and Real Madrid in Spain and some, that's a bit of a, one of those to me, smoke and mirrors.
Let's bring it back to Arsenal. Do want to focus on the winners here a little bit. Rabo, how big, not just for Gyökeres the player, but maybe as we think of Arsenal's title chances, whether it's Premier League or Champions League, were those 2 goals today for Gyökeres?
Well, he needed the goals because he's not been in great goal-scoring form, but as Craig said, he's working hard. The crowd like him at the moment. They're giving him a lot of love. He only touched the ball 9 times in the first half and not once in the box, so they're still not using him enough. They're still not playing the ball into him quite quickly enough. They go out wide before they try and get it into the box. Then there probably wasn't enough crosses in the first half when they did have good possession. But he's a player, I think, that when the ball's rolled into his feet, he can turn defenders, he can run down the side of defenders. He's got all the attributes. At the moment, it's not quite working for him, but he's working hard. The 2 goals, I'm sure, will give him confidence, even if they were just bundled in. That's what centre forwards do. But I think Arsenal need to use him that little bit more, get the ball rolled into him in and around the box, and you'll see him score some really good individual goals, because that's what he did when I saw him play for commentary, and that's what he did when he was in Portugal.
We just saw that graphic, all the names, not just the 11, but coming off the bench. Is it a deep enough squad that we can talk about a chase for both titles?
Well, they've never won the Champions League, been in the final, but I think that's a tricky one. I think don't try and run before you can walk. I mean, it's been over 20 years since they won a Premier League title. I think that's first and foremost for them. They've been very close the last 3 or 4 years. I mean, the answer is yes, but I think for me, the top of the tree for them has to be the Premier League, the domestic title. And at the moment, they are the best package. Yes, City are playing some decent football. Yes, City are heavily reliant on Erling Haaland, who you may have noticed is still in great form. and all that sort of stuff. But Arsenal have got the best package at the moment. Liverpool, we've talked about their issues. We've talked about Arne Slot, how he's struggling to figure it out. Arsenal are strong in every position. Whether that's going to be deep enough to win the Premier League and the Champions League, I think that's a big ask. They certainly have enough to win the Premier League. He has all the tools, and he's been given all the tools he needs to go out and deliver the Premier League title. It is on him this year, big time, more than ever, to win the Premier League.
If there were ever a season for Arsenal in which depth is not a question, it's this season. Now, I don't know how much of a priority it will be to win Champions League, given everything that Craig just mentioned there. But if you are in the quarterfinals, if you're in the semifinals of the Champions League, which is something that we expect Arsenal to be in, there is a scenario in which you look at Arsenal and go, their squad is deeper than most teams in Europe, if not all teams.
Is there anything missing when you look at it?
I don't see anything missing. I don't see this team and go, man, they have a glaring problem. The problem that Mikel Arteta is going to have is actually finding places for players on the field when they're all healthy. Because let's not forget, Martin Odegaard is not out there. You have Madueke, who has been good when he has played. He's not out there. You have had injuries. Bukayo Saka has had injury issues. Eze hasn't played all the time. If you have everybody available, who do you play? That's the bigger question. It's a great problem to have, but that's a bigger question for Arsenal rather than the question of whether they have enough depth. I don't think depth is ever the question for Arsenal this season. Other seasons, maybe, not this season.
I think the gauge is always the Premier League, and we talked to Steve McMahon about this, about Real Madrid a few years ago, and he said La Liga title, although they've been very successful with the Champions League, of course they have, and the fans may love it, it's always about the La Liga title first and foremost. And I think from Arsenal's perspective, that is going to be their bread and butter. I mean, at the end of the day, it's the Champions League, when it gets past this stage, is a knockout competition. PSG could roll up like they did last year. They were pretty average up till Christmas time, then they were the best team in Europe. They could rock up, you have a bad night at the office, you get knocked out. You get Bayern, they have a good night, you get knocked out. You maybe get a Barca who sort the defensive issues out, you're knocked out the competition. It doesn't make you a bad side. Whereas I just feel over the 38 games of any season, any league, whether it's La Liga, the Bundesliga, the Premier League, or whatever league it is, it's just a great test of your durability and your squad.
Barcelona then 6-1 winners over Olympiacos. Marcus Rashford with a brace, Fermin Lopez with the hat-trick. Rabo, pretty perfect warm-up for El Clásico for Barcelona?
Yeah, it wasn't for the first 50, 60 minutes because they didn't play particularly well in the first half, although they were 2-0 up. They were pressed quite hard by Olympiacos, who pressed high up the field, and they gave the ball away cheaply on occasions. They couldn't get their continuity going. There was individuals that were having, a poor game for them. But the sending off changed everything. As soon as they went down to 10 men, then they could open up. They brought De Jong on as well, which I think was a much better decision than when they were playing with a young player, Fernandez, who was on the pitch at the time. He gives them more control, he gives them more guile, along with Pedri. And from that moment on, they were always going to create chances, and they fully deserved it in the end. But that first 60 minutes, I thought was slightly worrying, and Olympiacos certainly made it difficult for them to play out from the back. They certainly made it difficult for them to pick their passes, and they were fortunate to go in at half-time 2-0 up.
Alex, another big day for Rashford.
Yeah, he's doing okay. He hasn't always looked like he fits into this Barcelona style, but when he's got opportunities so far this season, he scored goals. He's looked dangerous. He's given the team something different. It would be huge for him, of course, to start in the Clásico on Sunday. Let's see if that happens or not. The other big sort of good news from this performance is Fermin Lopez, who's a player who I think always looks like he poses a goal threat, always looks dangerous. He's been a big game player for Barca as well. We've seen him performing Clásicos in the past, and we had some questions about who's going to play at number 10 for Barcelona in the Clásico, with some fitness issues, the likes of Dani Olmo. I think Fermin tonight made a pretty convincing case that it should be him.
Is that what you take away from this? Kind of Fermin's performance?
Well, it's hard to ignore a hat trick, so I'm not going to. Yes, that's important from his perspective, and I think it defines his role going forward. And I find Fermin Lopez to be ahead of Dani Olmo in terms of who plays that position. If I were Hansi Flick, that would be my choice. But I go back to the 60 minutes that Robo was talking about. And let's not forget who the coach of Olympiacos is. It's Jose Luis Mendilibar, who's very familiar with Barcelona, was successful at Eibar with, and a a guy who knows Barcelona very well. And he had Olympiacos, his team, away from home, going and pressing Barcelona because he has seen what has happened over the last, 3 weeks, 4 weeks with Barcelona, that if you press them and you force a turnover, that high line is vulnerable, you can get in behind, you can create problems. And Barcelona almost surprised that they were being pressed by Olympiacos, and that's why those 60 minutes became as uncomfortable as Robo was talking about. So you look at the final score, you go 6-1, Barcelona all over Olympiacos. Up until the red card, it was a completely different match, and they were hanging on. When Olympiacos scored 2-1, it felt more likely that Olympiacos was going to get a second one than Barcelona was going to get a third one. Red card then, as Robo pointed out, it changed everything. It is, in terms of momentum and in terms of positive energy and positive thinking, what you wanted ahead of El Clásico. But in terms of substantial quality of play, it's not quite there just yet for Barcelona.
To that point, you think Hansi Flick comes out of this 6-1 saying, well, actually, I even have the issues I saw over the weekend. There's more ahead of El Clásico. It was 2-1 till the red card.
Hansi Flick knows this side can score goals. He knows it can rip teams open. Doesn't keep him awake at night. He's got players that can create in midfield. He's got players that can play in the wide position. He's got players that can play behind a Lewandowski or a striker. Olmo, Fermin Lopez, whoever it is. He is having palpitations about his back line. I think what we've seen in La Liga this season, particularly Girona at the weekend in the first 45, is a better reflection of this Barcelona and where they are than any 6-1 victory against a weaker side in the Champions League. Now, that being said, with the Clásico at the weekend, we all know, if you watch it, Real Madrid are no great shakes either and have their own issues. But the one thing that's keeping Hansi Flick up and getting him in a hot sweat of an evening is this back line. Because if they get it wrong at the weekend, like they have for the bulk of this season, they have, arguably, along with Julian Alvarez and Erling Haaland, Europe's hottest player at the moment is Kylian Mbappe. So, yes, great result for what it's worth. They'll qualify in this 36-team league. We know all that. We know they'll score goals. The issue come the weekend is the back line, the protection of the back line, and how high that line is, and how Real Madrid may or may not expose it. That's going to be the difference between who wins and loses at the weekend. Beating 10 men 6-1 is getting you 3 points, doing nothing else.
We do have some news, speaking of probably something we'll talk about on Football Americas. News about the Barcelona game against Villarreal. It was supposed to be played December 20th in Miami. Why am I saying supposed to be played? Well, because it's been canceled. Here's a statement from La Liga. La Liga announces that following conversations with the promoter of the official La Liga match in Miami, the decision has been made to cancel the organization of the event due to the uncertainty that has arisen in Spain over the past few weeks. The statement continued, the project fully complied with all federative regulations and did not affect the integrity of the competition as confirmed by the competent institutions responsible for ensuring compliance, which opposed it for other reasons.
UEFA reluctantly approved it, and the Spanish Football Federation didn't oppose it. But for example, the Spanish Sports Council, the sports ministry here in Spain, still hadn't come out publicly and spoken about this. We had heard some Spanish government ministers talking against it, but we hadn't actually had a verdict from the sports ministry. We don't know what that was going to be. If indeed we hear something in the next few days or so, we may find out more about that. But there was also the opposition from Real Madrid, potential legal challenges trying to block this. So I think all of that in the context of the fact that the tickets were literally about to go on sale. We had the pre-sale, which was delayed today before this announcement came. I think there was a real awareness that it would be a really bad look for tickets to be sold, for people to have paid money for tickets, and then there'd be some problem further down the road without absolute certainty that this could happen. And in the end, it's a big setback for the league to have to take a step back on this. It's not the first time. Of course, it's been a long-term ambition for the league to play a game in the States. It's been, 7 or 8 years now they've been trying to make this happen. This is the closest they've got this time, but in the end, they've had to put it on hold again.
What a mess.
Yeah, it seems to me that Tebas's position is very vulnerable here because this idea has been half-baked at best, ill thought out, and the only uncertainty was the certainty. it was absolutely certain that there was going to be opposition to this by fans, by clubs, some, by players. That was certain.
Are you surprised that that opposition led to this change? I mean, we've seen players complain, stand up before. It doesn't.
As I said at the weekend, the 15-second delay of a game was weak. It wasn't exactly something that you would cancel.
Maybe it was. Maybe it was.
Well, you have to have more gumption about yourself. You know, if you go all out here and announce this, then you got to make damn sure this is going to go ahead. Because the fact that you're having to backtrack on it makes yourself as a leader look weak, very, very weak. Now I know there was obstacles, but those obstacles should have been thought about, should have been discussed prior to this game being announced. So it makes Tebas look weak. It's embarrassing all round, and quite frankly, there was always going to be some uproar when you announce something that's out with the tradition.
Right.
And you're going to always face this kind of opposition. So you better make sure you have your ducks in a row when you make these announcements. And La Liga did not.
And if you're gonna indeed have everything planned out correctly, one of the things that you have to have is the support of the players. Let's not forget, it's not Javier Tebas who puts on a jersey and shorts and shoes and goes and plays at Hard Rock Stadium in Miami. In the end, nobody really cares about Javier Tebas. I'm talking about the fans that were supposed to go watch this game, Barcelona-Villarreal in Miami. They care about the players. The players are the stars. The players are the protagonists. It's a word that is well used in Spain. Protagonistas. Yeah, the players are the ones that the fans are coming to watch. So you have to have the support from the players. And in order to have the support from the players, they have to be involved in the conversation. You have to invite the players to the boardroom and have them be part of the decision-making process. And mind you, have them be part of taking a piece of the pie as well. See, there is a windfall for La Liga here. The players need to be part of that as well. And if you ignore the players and make a unilateral decision, what do you think is going to happen? The players are going to say, wait a minute. Where do you think you're going with this? As for not damaging or jeopardizing the integrity of the competition, nonsense. 100% nonsense. If you're Athletico Madrid, if you're Real Madrid, what is one of the games that you're thinking, Barcelona may drop some points? Away at Villarreal. Away at Villarreal. If Barcelona had come and played this game here,
it's a home game.
I guess Villarreal is a home game in Miami, where everybody's coming to watch Barcelona play. So you're indeed damaging and jeopardizing the integrity of the competition just by definition.
Alex, a couple questions for you. One, that phrase specifically, integrity of the competition. Ale mentions it. It's in the statement. It's the exact same phrasing that Thibaut Courtois used in effectively his complaint against this. I wonder what you make of that. And then also what the guys are saying here, and what you alluded to, this has been kind of like Tebas' pursuit, getting a game in the United States. Like, where does this leave him?
Yeah, it's been a long-term strategic objective of the league led by Tebas. They believe this is absolutely key to the growth of the league and to help them compete with the Premier League and other sports. And they'll keep trying to make this happen. But if it happens, I think what we've seen from this attempt is that there has to be, if not unanimity from everybody, because of course there's always going to be disagreement over plans like this, at least from the clubs that make up La Liga. You know, Thibaut Courtois, you mentioned, he talked about this. He said, look, people talk about the NBA and the NFL playing games overseas. The difference is that in the NFL, you know, the team owners have all agreed that this is the way forward. We will play NFL games overseas. In La Liga, there isn't that agreement among all of the clubs, and particularly, of course, you've got this opposition from Real Madrid. In terms of the integrity of the competition, that has been raised time and time again by the players who, yes, they have concerns about things like, you know, travel and fatigue and not being consulted. But a lot of them say, look, you know, it strikes at the fundamental nature of a league competition about every team playing home and away. In terms of Tebas, look, he's of course got a lot of power, a lot of influence. He has helped under his tenure. La Liga has grown exponentially. It's a totally different organisation from top to bottom from when it was when he took over. But there's no doubt that, yeah, he's been very personally associated with this project. He's the figurehead of this project, and it not going ahead is a blow to his image in terms of, you know, being able to get stuff done and make things happen as well.
7-2.
Oh, I was actually really interested in the expected goals here.
How is this possible?
I don't know, man. I guess I just don't get expected goals. One thing I do get is our
Don't say
World
that.
Cup winner, the champion, Frank Leboeuf, joining us.
People got upset.
What's that?
I mean, you can take the blame for this. I mean, there are people out there, if you rubbish expected goals, will literally wet themselves.
Right.
So I'm just saying, expect the unexpected.
Right. Okay, Frank, I don't know if you expected this. 9 goals, 2 red cards. This was a crazy game.
It was a very, very exciting game, and it was kind of a little, what we say in France, little promenade for Paris Saint-Germain. That's so easy peasy for them. I mean, when they want to speed up and put one gear up, they kill the opponent. I mean, they had like 12 minutes where they got a little bit sloppy, got 2 penalties, 1 red card, and when they decided to go back into the game, they score 3 goals in 7 minutes. That's insane. That's how talented they are offensively, but I have to say that they're quite solid. I mean, Zabani was kind of the weakest link today, and when he went out, where they were 11 against 10, they were 10 against 10, and they finished the game in 6 minutes. I mean, it's amazing to see that team. I mean, I heard Ali and Craig saying maybe for Arsenal it's a season where they can win the Champions League. But remember what happened last year, and remember that Paris Saint-Germain is still there. I mean, they beat a team, yes. Ten Hag was there, yes. They aren't the Bayern Leverkusen that we used to see. But a year and a half ago, that was an unbeaten team, only losing once in the Europa League final, against Atalanta. But otherwise, you know, we are talking about Paris Saint-Germain without Marquinhos today. Neves, Fabian Ruiz, and Dembélé didn't start. And they were 4-1 halftime. That's amazing what I see. I mean, the way they play, the young players came on, and by Wayne Emery is becoming the player that he was like 3 years ago when he was 17 years old. That's insane what we see. The talent that they have, the way they compose together, the way they involve together, the implication that they have all together. Luis Enrique made that team being a masterpiece.
Yes.
Let me just say, we did not sit here and talk about Arsenal winning the Champions League. It was the way you phrased the question.
Are you blaming me?
And we also talked about PSG.
Yeah.
Now I understand Frank probably went and had a cup of coffee, because I wouldn't want to sit through the first 40 minutes of this programme either if I wasn't on it. Right? But at no point are we suggesting Arsenal are a better side than Paris Saint-Germain when they have all the players fit.
No, I didn't say that they were better. You said that it was a season that they could win the Champions League, and it was more coming from Ali, have to be fair to Craig, saying that's the year for Arsenal to maybe win the Champions League. And you can go backwards. I remember jumping a little bit because I think Paris Saint-Germain is much right now better than any other team, and not only the Gunners.
First of all,
Sitting there, man.
I said,
Shots fired.
if there were ever a season, all I said, if there were ever a season for Arsenal to not complain about their lack of depth, it was this season. And it takes depth to win the Champions League. So if there were ever a season for them to think that they're capable of doing, it would be this season. It has nothing to do with PSG, and it is not in any way taking anything away from, anything taken away from PSG. This is what I would say. If Frank's argument for PSG, the best argument that he can make is that they beat Bayer Leverkusen, and he's saying because a year and a half they were unbeaten in Bundesliga, then you have not been paying attention. All of Bayer Leverkusen is gone. The manager gone. Basically, the whole starting squad is gone. So Bayer Leverkusen is not the standard. If PSG go on to win Champions League, it's because of the talent of PSG. Let's not make the conversation about, well, look what they did with Bayer Leverkusen.
Is this the French Jan Agafiotov?
Good Lord.
He comes on here, you say something about PSG, he's getting his knickers in a twist. We say something about Martin Odegaard or Erling Haaland, Jan's jumping, as he did, like Frank.
Frank, defend yourself against this studio-based attack.
No. I have nothing to complain about. I never said that there was a comparison with Paris Saint-Germain. I only heard that would be maybe the season for Arsenal to win the Champions League.
Clean your ears out,
No.
Frank.
You have forgotten to talk about Paris Saint-Germain. Otherwise, you would have never said those words about Arsenal. Because that's going to be right now impossible for any team to win the Paris Saint-Germain.
We'll get the producer.
I don't talk about you.
We'll get the producer when he puts his pizza down. We'll get the producer at some point, maybe to clip it up where we said they could come up against PSG and get knocked out.
Do you guys agree with his?
This is what I expect from viewers.
Right, right.
I expect the viewer.
No.
I expect the blinkered approach from the viewer with the earmuffs on, not listening.
Calm down. You said it. No problem. And I'm targeting my favorite Venezuelan player of the century. The 100% guy who said if there is a season to win the Champions League for Arsenal, it's this season.
And
what?
Hold on. And is that from the perspective of Arsenal, though, Frank? Is that an inaccurate statement from the perspective of Arsenal, not from the perspective of PSG?
If you believe PSG is as good as Frank thinks they are, then yes. Another win for Manchester City, another goal for Erling Haaland. That's 15 in 11 games across all comps so far this season. Frank, you had a keen eye on this one. Was it as comfortable as maybe that scoreline suggests for Manchester City?
Yeah, that was quite comfortable because they made it comfortable. I mean, that's the first time that I see a very compact Manchester City team. I think it's been a while since they won a Champions League game away from home, and they deserve 100% that win, even if they got scared a little bit at the end with the header on the post from I think it was Vega from Villarreal. But otherwise, they had many other chances to score. We didn't see a lot, Alan. But to say to Jan, don't worry, my man, the guy is still there. He scored a goal, almost scored 2 or 3. He's always a threat. But I want to talk about the skipper, Bernardo Silva. The guy was everywhere, all everywhere. Was working so hard for the team, scoring a goal, and we have to name also Savinho. It was a very good team for Manchester, very good game, for Manchester City, and they deserve to win.
A third straight clean sheet for Manchester City. Not something you would have expected.
No, I suppose not. But over the weekend, it wasn't so much because they were great defensively. It's because Everton struggled offensively. The spaces were there, and the turnovers were there, and the opportunities to get out in transition were there. In fact, they could have and should have scored a couple of goals in the first half. They did not. We're now looking at a third straight clean sheet, and we want to make this a story. I am not ready to say that Manchester City have turned the corner or are defending well. They are facing lower end opposition, and they are handling those teams in the manner in which they should.
Any thoughts here?
No.
Okay, don't want to talk about Haaland. All right. I hope you emailed me extra time. Welcome into Extra Time, everybody.
Hey,
I hope Robbo, Frank, Greg, and Al are with us.
I know we have. I know that was off camera. But I hope we've got that. We have that in camera.
Please.
Your meltdown at the end of that show was a 12 out of 10.
Yeah. And you would know meltdowns. If there was anybody that could rate a meltdown.
People were just bringing me like little reams of paper in the middle of the show. It was like a pile of paper here.
Right. You got all these shots in.
Is there any way that we can show the paper that is now in the studio?
I'll get it and bring it back up.
No.
Let's get through this here, because time and stuff. What's the point of playing Simeone ball if they're going to concede 4? That's our first question about Atleti after their demolition against Arsenal.
But that's the point. They're not capable of playing quote-unquote Simeone ball, and I imagine the Simeone ball in people's mind is we're going to fight and we're going to grind and we're going to win a game 1-0 on a set piece. They don't have the personnel to play that style. They're in between. They're neither here nor there, and so that's why they can give up 4 or 5 goals, or they can score 4 or 5 goals.
You're right over there? Why are you grinning so much?
Please, somebody. Please, somebody clip me up. If you've got
ISO cam of me.
If you've got somebody, please clip up his meltdown. We can, because it was absolutely.
All those papers were on top of the desk in front of Seb at one point.
In paper. John Norris asked, for all, it seems to me the single...
Chuck Norris?
John.
You look like Chuck Norris at the end of that show.
Yeah, you did a roundhouse kick, did you not?
It seems to me the single worst aspect of the new format Champions League is it's incentivizing larger clubs to roll up the score ruthlessly for placement in the table. Do you agree, or do you not have a problem with that? Robbo, what do you think? We did see some kind of crazy score lines today.
No, I've got no problems with it. I think the league worked all right last year. It's doing okay this year. There's going to always be big scores in the Champions League. When you even had a group of 4, there was always one team that got hammered by everybody else. So I've got no problems with it. We've seen some good games. We've seen some really tight games. And we've seen some one-sided matches. But you're always going to get that in the Champions League, no matter what format you've got. So no problem with it at all.
Frank, you're the ultimate sportsman. You got a problem with people running up the score?
No, I'm okay with that. I remember at my time when we played Champions League, we went to Galatasaray and we won 5-0 there, and everybody said, Galatasaray, they're not good enough. They were reversed, they were put in the Europa League, and they won. They won that season, they won the Europa League against Arsenal. So, yeah, sometimes, you can have large goals and mini goals. Well, it's entertaining, and I enjoy that. But it's true that sometimes it puts away, the spirit that we want to see in the Champions League, meaning tough games, hard work. But overall, it worked last season. Let's see how it works this season.
James asks, start, bench, drop, follow.
I've got this vision in my head now. I saw how angry
You didn't know I had that club in my bag, huh?
Oh, no. I've seen your anger before. The little guy gets angry.
Explosive, volatile.
Very volatile.
Start, bench, drop. Mourinho park the bus. Arteta set piece FC or Guardiola's tiki-taka.
What do you mean?
Which one do you like? Which one do you like a little bit less? And which one do you like the least? That's how it works.
Mourinho, don't like that.
Arteta and Guardiola, the other two.
Yeah, bench the tiki-taka. I don't have a net. Set pieces are part of the game. We just don't have to sort of drown on about it all the time. But it's part of the game, so I don't have an issue with that.
Got some goals from the run of play today, didn't they?
Yeah,
Arsenal. So.
It's just part of their armoury. It just shouldn't be their armoury full time.
Yeah.
They have more strings to the bow.
Can't be
What
the
you
only
don't
club
need-
in the bag. Yeah.
Craig's absolutely right. It's part of the game. What you don't need, and what I think he's trying to say is, you don't need the set piece coach running to the side of the pitch and saying, "Look at me! It's all my doing. Look how good I am." And then when it goes wrong, they go and sit back down quickly. That's what you don't like to see.
There you go.
Love a good set piece coach. Robbo.
A little bit of edge there. Anger
Yeah, he's
about the
picking up on
set-piece
what's
coach.
happening in the studio. It's spreading.
There's only one angry person in the studio today,
yes.
and that started when we came on, just before we came on air at 5:30. When, not through no fault of your own, and I'm well prepared to blame other people here, or you didn't get the required documentation in front of you to do the live show.
I played my role in it too. We all have a
And
role.
this documentation via carrier pigeon was coming in drips and drabs, and to a point where you had a table full in front of you.
It was a lot of highlights today. Let's leave it at that. Bravo.
Unfortunately, here it is. And unfortunately, you couldn't find the PSV.
And good throw.
That's character. Seb, I love you. You showed character.
I never thought PSV could make you that angry. He was going like this, wasn't he? It's PSV, where is it? And then the red mist, did it ascend or descend?
It hit so quick, I didn't know if it was coming up or down. But
Now,
it hit.
question.
Yeah.
In the moment of the red mist, it's already gone, right? But you went back for another pack of paper to crumble it up and throw it.
Yeah. I want to be thorough.
All right, you want to make
Everything's
sure
gone.
that all the paper is
I
gone.
needed a full, clean slate. All right.
But it was the face.
Yeah.
There was a lot of anger.
Yes. You really got all your
I
body
think he needs to
behind
go and
it.
see a psychologist.
Come on, Robbo.
You
Robbo's
need to
gonna
see a
have me
psychologist. That's not acceptable, is it? How's that upset you so badly? I never get upset about anything. Nor does Craig, nor does Ali. But that is ridiculous.
It's unprofessional behavior, really, Robo. I understand.
I mean, you left us to carry the end of that show.
Absolutely.
Really.
Yeah.
I mean, Ali and I, we just ploughed on with that highlight.
No, it was
you
really-
were chucking all sorts of things.
Some of your best work is what they're saying.
We got excited about Ricardo Pepi scoring a goal.
I have to admit,
You weren't there with us.
it made me chuckle.
It was worth the price of admission, wasn't it?
Oh, it made me
For as much as you hate working with me, it was worth it for that.
Who says it? Why?
Well, as much as the internet thinks you hate working with me. As much as the
whoa.
internet thinks you hate working with me. Can we move on? Somebody's got a flight to catch. Bravo.
That's most. You're
Could Rashford be the second striker that
going to chuck the pilot off?
Tuchel's been searching for the England team?
I don't see him as a centre forward. I think he's better when he plays on the left-hand side. For the first 60 minutes today, his movement wasn't particularly good. They couldn't get the ball into him. He's done okay at Barcelona, but mainly off the left-hand side. Today he played up front, scored 2 good goals, but it was when the opposition were down to 10 men. When they had 11 men, he didn't look anywhere near the same player. So I would not have him as a centre forward for me, left-sided player.
Right, who are you blaming for this outburst?
Who am
Like,
I
you don't
blaming
just
for
chuck
that?
paper, because it's not the paper's fault. Who are you blaming?
Yeah.
Blame. There's got
For
to be.
every finger
there's got to be
for every
blame.
finger you point, 4 pointed right back at you.
Yeah, there has to be blame. Transparency and blame. Otherwise, people won't get better. Who are you blaming?
No, I'm interested. Was it Robbo said I need a psychiatrist? But Frank, what did you say? You said it was a sign of what?
No, I said you were right. You know, it was too much paper, too much work, and you
Sign
got
of
rid of
character,
that and got
personality.
Hang on.
Right, you
That's
got a
don't
fight.
ask-
Don't ask Frank about going mad. I've seen Frank in Paris when they didn't let him park his bike in a down a corridor. He went absolutely mad.
There's a lot of angry people on this show.
That's
isn't
true. I
there?
forgot that.
And it doesn't include you.
No, I'm actually learning. I'm actually learning that
No,
there
but
are-
I like the position of Craig when he loves, you know, to be people in peace between each other. He doesn't like to put the mess between people. I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. Well
No,
done,
no, but
Craig,
what
Burley.
I'm learning about this show is there are a lot of sort of passive-aggressive people who don't always show their true colours.
As he stares directly at Seb
Well,
for those
that's
listening
not
on the
your case.
podcast.
I'm quite transparent about my aggression. You know what I mean?
Oh, yes,
it's
yeah,
not.
for
I
sure.
don't hide it.
100%.
There's
Today,
nothing passive about your aggression, we know. There is a last question, and it might actually have to do with your aggression.
Can I pull?
Go on, Robbo.
Can I just pull Ali up on something that he said earlier in the show?
Oh, wow.
He's always having a go at Derek for saying, well, in Germany they say this. There was a part in the show when Ali said, in Spain they like to say this, and he said it in a Spanish accent. You got to question yourself, Ali. All that stick you've been given Derek.
Protagonista. Protagonista, he said.
Yes, protagonista. And mind you, if you're going to bring up Derek Ray, if indeed you're going to defend Derek Ray, you're going to be Derek Ray's lawyer. Just keep it to Vincent Company, okay? Keep it to Vincent.
Yeah. Vincent.
you're not sat in an exit seat tonight, are you?
Vincent
I
Company.
would.
The way you're prattling on, I'm not sat in any seat tonight, all right? I'm sat in the DoubleTree across the street.
I wouldn't sit next to you on a plane. That kind of attitude.
Craig looks like he'd yell at a waiter for bringing, I can't see the end of this, for bringing the wrong soup, but still leave a 25% tip.
Yeah, I always leave a good tip.
Do you yell at waiters?
No,
No.
absolutely not.
The safety is yelling for you.
Yeah, I was about to
do
say,
not yell at people.
colleagues.
No, I don't go in a restaurant and yell at people.
No.
That's wrong.
That's right.
If I have a bad, I don't want to go on about it.
Okay, good. And I don't want you to go on
He
about
doesn't
it.
go to restaurants.
That made my,
He doesn't.
literally made my week.
Oh, that's it?
I've never. Well, I know you've got a bit of a side to you, but you really lost it.
Yeah.
And I know you're just unhappy with aspects.
I'm good. I'm happy. All's well that ends well.
You've been here for 3 days. It's prickly. You're prickly right now.
Prickly's a great way to describe it. Bravo, Frank, thanks for staying up late with us. For Craig and I'm Seb, thanks for watching this edition of Extra Time, putting up with my madness. And rest in peace to the papers, ladies and gentlemen.
Man, so much aggression.
Who's hosting tomorrow? Will there be any paper left for them? I guess you'll have to watch and find out. ESPN FC available 7 days a
I
week.
was afraid. I was.
Come on.
Welcome to the Athletic FC podcast with me, Ayo Akinwolere. Well, it's time to maybe talk about Alexander Isak's struggles at Liverpool after that record-breaking summer move of £125 million. With us today, we have got Ollie Kane, we've got Chris Waugh, and also Andy Jones from the Walk On podcast as well. Right, Andy, I've got some stats here for you. 382 minutes, 105 touches, 11 shots, 1 goal. Those are Alexander Isak's stats so far at Liverpool. I hate to start with a negative, but we know he's a great striker, but this is not the kind of form we're used to seeing. How do you feel about them?
It's not what anyone was expecting or hoping. Liverpool fans had to wait a long time for him to come with the saga that just rumbled on all the way, and it still feels like we're waiting to sort of see exactly what Isak's going to become. And there's loads of factors, behind that. We wrote a piece on the Athletic, sort of exploring some of them. I'm sure we'll get into plenty of them. But I mean, ultimately, at the moment, he's feeding on scraps in a team that aren't functioning very well at all. And but the problem is when you come in with a price tag like he has, the chance he gets against Manchester United, for example, where he goes through on goal, ultimately you've got to sort of be putting those chances away. And while he's not getting loads of chances, he's not finishing the ones that he is getting. So yeah, it's been far from the ideal start for him.
Well, Anna Slot, the head of the Manchester United game, said Isak had the time to catch up after missing pre-season. I mean, I'd love to know exactly what Liverpool have done with him, Andy, in terms of integrating him into this team.
I mean, the main thing is that they've been playing him ultimately, because they could have sort of drip fed him in, but they've tried to give him as much football as possible. I think the general feeling is he's settled well. He's got in with the group of players. I think Van Dijk's been quite important in trying to help him settle, and he threw himself into the fitness program that Liverpool sort of set up for him to try and get him up to speed as quickly as possible. But
yeah, because he was training at Sociedad. He was also training at Newcastle before the move, wasn't he?
Yeah, exactly. Like he's had no pre-season. And Slot was very, very keen to point that out. I mean, he said, we're not signing for 6 weeks, we're signing for 6 years type thing. And there was an expectation that it would be, might be slow to start off with, and he does get a goal against Southampton, and you think maybe that's, he's going to kick off on from there. But sort of Liverpool's general problems have not helped them. Ultimately they've gone behind in the first 15 minutes of the last 4 games, and that never helps. It's never helpful when you're trying to build attacks and against teams who've now can sit in on a 1-goal lead, and we've got something to really hold on to and take less risks and stuff like that. So it can be trickier, but yeah, ultimately, they've tried to integrate him as quickly as possible and build the on-pitch relationships by playing him. And I think the sense is now that he's at the level that they feel is close to, maybe not, it doesn't look like he's still fully sharp, but they feel like he's at the level now where it's a case of trying to build the on-pitch relationships now, and the sort of the not had the pre-season is sort of less now a less of a reason as to why he might be struggling.
Ollie, can a change of environment be something that we can think about here? Obviously, there's a striker that backs himself. We saw what he did at Newcastle, but he's now in a team where he's not the main man necessarily in that way. Can that play a part as to whether or not he flourishes? Does he feel out of depth? Does he feel nervous? Who knows? I mean, I'm just picking at things here, but I'm just really fascinated.
Yeah, it certainly can. I mean, I felt that the difficulty he had, as well as the sort of self-inflicted one or self-chosen one where he'd effectively denied himself a proper pre-season, one of the difficulties he had was that Liverpool had already signed another centre-forward, Ekitike, who by the time Isak was signed, had really hit the ground running and really impressive. And he was the one who was sort of making a seamless transition into the Liverpool team, into the Premier League, seemingly with a bigger adjustment to make. So I think it's looked a bit confused really what Liverpool are trying to do. Not only, well, it looks slightly confusing on paper, but it looks more confused on the pitch in these opening weeks, whether you had Florian Wirtz starting the first few games and then the last few games he's been on the bench more, when you would say perhaps it should have been the other way around. Maybe he should have been brought in quickly. I think they've tried to give Isak as much playing time as they can, probably to try to build him up to fitness. And by doing that, they've probably in some ways played Ekitike out of fitness. It felt to me like the impact Ekitike had made early on probably reduced the pressure on Slot to throw Isak straight into the team, but also increased the pressure on Isak to make an impact when he did, because they've got two centre forwards signed for big price tags, and Ekitike is the one who's hit the ground running. So it's a difficult one. It's people can say that sort of huge price tag doesn't make any difference to them, but generally speaking, it always seems to, doesn't it? You look at the list of players signed for sort of 70 million plus in the Premier League. Caicedo now, and he's really made a big impact at Chelsea. Declan Rice likewise, but Van Dijk probably the ultimate in terms of big impact straight away. But generally speaking, those players who signed for big money, they find it hard. Jack Grealish seemed to be somebody who spent all but about a few months at Man City looking like you'd be rather be a bigger fish in a smaller pond, and it can be difficult. Not just the sort of external focus on a player, but the internal focus, what teammates thinking, what are you yourself thinking. So there are numerous challenges for Isak, and it's not started the way anybody would have wanted, apart from perhaps Newcastle fans.
Any lessons here, Chris, from how we started life at Newcastle? Because he didn't start all firing, did he?
He didn't know. I'm not sure that the two situations are directly comparable, though. I mean, yes, he came as a club record signing for Newcastle, but he wasn't the Alexander Isak, this world-renowned striker, arguably one of the best in the world at that stage. He came in as full of promise, and he got an injury early on at Callum Wilson. It wasn't necessarily expected that he was going to immediately come in and hit the ground running in that same regard. So I think that it's a different situation. Newcastle eventually built a team around him. I think that's what Liverpool. I haven't seen loads of Liverpool. When I have, the problem he's going to have, as you mentioned earlier, Mo Salah is going to get the ball in certain positions. It almost feels like that it's not set up for Isak and for releasing him in exactly that way. That's partly why Newcastle have struggled in attack post Isak. He was the final part of that jigsaw, and it was built to facilitate him. Now he's not there. Newcastle are trying to work out how to facilitate someone else and play a different way. Liverpool are obviously playing in a very different way, and it isn't just built for him. Jacob Murphy laid on 7 goals for Isak last season. It was the highest assist to striker to goal scorer combination, and that he needs to build those relationships again. Murphy was basically there to lay on Alexander Isak. So, no, I just don't think the situations are directly comparable. I do think that this is a lesson to be learned. That Isak himself, he may have felt he had to act in the way that he did to leave Newcastle, but he's also had a detrimental effect on his own fitness and his own time of hitting the ground running, because Newcastle regularly asked him if he wanted to come back to train, regularly asked him if he playing games. He didn't want to do that, felt that he needed to push his way out of the club, but that has had a negative impact on his own physical fitness and on his ability to immediately step up to the highest level, which at Liverpool is even higher than Newcastle United. So yes, I just think it's a different situation, and it's one where he will come good in time because he's far too good a footballer, but I think that there could be a bit of a transition season for him in Liverpool in that regard. Yeah, who is feeding him, Andy? You look at Mo Salah on one side, we know he loves a goal, he does like to assist, but he's got an eye for goal. Gakpo, even at that game against Manchester United, he was the one hitting, the post, going in for those shots as well. I mean, is that quite difficult when you're a striker who obviously from a previous setup has people to feed you?
Yeah, I guess the catering staff is probably the answer at the moment, isn't it? Because as you say, it's, in terms of Gakpo and Salah, they are goal-scoring wingers rather than creative wingers. Now, Salah's assist numbers are excellent, and he is a creator himself, but ultimately he's a goal-first, kind of winger, and there's also Trent Alexander-Arnold. No longer you haven't got his creativity anymore. You can imagine that sort of his crosses and passes he's thriving off. I think the general problem maybe that hasn't really been discussed as much is that, I mean, since Arne Slot's come in, it's not number 9. It's not been an easy position to play in for Liverpool. A lot of it has been geared towards the wingers. Neither Diogo Jota or Darwin Núñez were particularly prolific when they played in that number 9 role. They ended up, shifting to Luis Diaz, and while Luis Diaz Diaz did a lot of good things there. There wasn't actually that many goals that he scored from that position. It was, largely it was Mo Salah, but also Gakpo on the other side, and Diaz did get a number of goals, but a large portion of them were from the left as well. So Ekitike was almost bucking the trend a little bit in that he was being an effective number 9 and getting goals. And yeah, I think it's a difficult position to play in, and obviously bringing 2 big number 9s in, proper number 9s is a shift for Liverpool, but it is about building those relationships ultimately, and finding the right runs. And when I think what's interesting is that for the piece that I did on Isaac with Greg Evans, I went back and just watched everything he'd done so far for Liverpool, and what stood out was that he had one really good relationship immediately, and that was with Florian Wirtz. In that Athletico Madrid game, there was a number of really good link-up play between them. A couple led to Isaac shots, one led to Wirtz getting in behind, and that was them playing as a 9 and a 10, and they haven't played from the start, I don't think, since then in that 9-10. Wirtz obviously started at Palace alongside Isaac, but Wirtz was in that left-sided role that didn't really work, and he was sort of all over the place in terms of his position. But then since then, Wirtz has obviously been dropped in the league, and when he played in the Champions League against Galatasaray, Ekitike started. But even in that Galatasaray game, the one chance that Isaac gets is Wirtz created. So it feels like maybe that's where the answer might be, is that getting Florian Wirtz back into the team and consistently. It feels like that's where Liverpool, because they've took him out and they're not winning. So it's less of a Wirtz problem now. So it feels like, do you put him back in? Does that get Isaac firing again? So I think there's loads of different things, and ultimately Liverpool feel that it is that in, those building relationships, but there's a lot of relationships being built at the moment. Across the pitch, Salah's playing with a newer fullback, a different number 10 and all that. There's loads of new relationships being built, and that's what can happen when you change so much, is there can be too much change, and yeah, so there's loads of different things, but yeah, it's not the easiest to play as number 9 in a slot system. I think that's fair to say, and but you hope that, and you feel that the quality will eventually show through, and it'll all sort of work each other out, because they've got too many good players to sort of continue in this way.
Okay, Andy, we better let you go. I know Liverpool have got Eintracht Frankfurt in the Champions League later on today, so good luck with watching that, and also in the Premier League as well, Brentford away. It's not going to be easy for Liverpool. No. Enjoy yourself, sir.
Cheers.
We should talk about Voltemade. I've really enjoyed watching him so far. You think about all the high-profile names that have gone to teams. He looks like the one that's actually firing. 5 goals in 9 games across all competitions, but not just offering goals. As we saw last night against Benfica, he's quite a good link-up player as well. Oh, he's a really good link-up player. I think he's more of a link-up player really than a goal scorer. He's not somebody who you would necessarily bank on scoring, Alan Shearer, Andy Cole type numbers in front of goal, but his link-up play really is excellent. That old cliche of great feet for a big man. Well, he's a big man, but he's got great feet for any player. You saw the little back heel last night. It's the beautiful flick at Brighton, but also anyone who watched him in the under-21 Euros or in the Bundesliga last season, he's got that. He's got all of that in his locker. I think he finished out top scorer as well, didn't he? I think, yeah. Yeah, I believe so. But he's also got a lot of adapting to do, and he seems. What I think is really impressive about him, and this time last year he was sort of in and out of the team at Stuttgart. He moved, joined them from Werder Bremen, and he was probably on the he was on the bench more than he was in the starting 11 in the first few months of the season. Only really sort of forced his way into the starting 11 just before the winter break. So if you consider how far he has come in a really short space of time, I think it's really impressive that he, out of all of not out of all of them, but more than most of those big money striker signings in the summer, he's hit the ground running at his new club in the Premier League.
Just to pick up on that, the one thing, Voltemade was not top of the list in terms of initially who Newcastle were looking to bring in this summer, but Voltemade, partly because they didn't think he was available, partly because they thought he may end up at Bayern Munich, but also because he is a different profile. But when he came in, the one thing, speaking to people before he even started playing at Newcastle, was that they were confident that he would be able to carry the price tag of being Newcastle's club record signing, of all the expectation that was there, just because of the way that he is. It's almost the sort of description they gave was because he's always been unorthodox in terms of the body type for his ability, and not what you'd expect from a centre forward or an attacking player in terms of being 6'6", but actually not dominant in the air, despite the fact that he scored a couple of really good headers early on at Newcastle, despite being sort of thin and tall. He's really good with his feet, and because he's just, it almost like brushes off that sort of, he doesn't take himself too seriously, he doesn't really feel the pressure in that sense, and you certainly get that from him. He seems very relaxed, he seems confident in what he can do without being arrogant, and the way that he took a penalty a couple of weeks ago was, I mean, it was I've never really seen a technique like it. The sort of, it was almost like a golf swing to really put the ball in the very top of the net at some power, and that sort of sums him up, I think, really, that he's very confident and comfortable in his own skin, and that has probably helped with this rapid adaptation period he's had so far.
Yeah, all the things you're saying there, I'm just thinking how he's connecting to the Newcastle fans. I was watching extended highlights of the match last night, and there were moments where he was there rousing the crowd up. That connection already, I guess, cult-like status is slowly emerging, isn't it, Chris?
Oh, very much so. They have chance for him already, and they really do love and embrace that. And I think because he is different in some ways, or looks different, and plays in a completely different manner, usually fans will grasp on that. But because he also, I mean, he's really into fashion, he posts loads of things on Instagram about that. It just is some of his expressions and the way that he acts on the field. Yeah, he's very much already been adopted in that way. And I think also because of the win, a lot of Newcastle fans felt beyond bruised by Alexander Isak's actions, their former hero, and how he left in the summer. To have someone who they can really engage with and embrace, I think that has helped them as well. And it's just been almost that perfect alchemy coming in at that period, and for Newcastle fans to really want to have a hero again. And because he started so well, that's only added to that.
Quickly, Ollie, I just want to talk about this squad, and also, how important it is to keep predominantly the most of last season's players in this season. I know Newcastle aren't doing that well in the league so far, but that consistency has to be solid. That has to be good. Understanding how Eddie Howe wants to play, that real structure, that spine must be key to Newcastle moving forward.
I think he's been building around a core that has worked really well from over the last few years, and I think there's probably a balancing act where you can be in danger of being too reliant on the same core of players for a long time, or you can try and change too much too quickly. I think the Isak situation was so far from ideal. You don't want to be forced in that position. They were totally in a position of weakness there, and probably made the best of a really, really horrible, difficult situation. I like the direction that Newcastle have taken from the start under Eddie Howe, and I guess it's just a case of whether they can keep improving. And as I said, the Isak departure was very unhelpful, but if they could get more goals out of Voltemada and more goals out of Gordon and Barnes and Elanga, I think that will send them in the right direction, because their midfield, their defensive foundation, excellent.
Yeah, that midfield's really important, isn't it, Chris? Just keeping hold of those key players, Gimares, Tonali, Joe Linton to a certain degree as well.
Yes, and we've just written on The Athletic this afternoon, actually, that Sandro Tonali, who was the big question mark for a lot of Newcastle fans, that when he initially signed from AC Milan, he signed a deal until 2028, and the thought was that could there be another Alexander Isak situation with Tonali? Is he the one who Newcastle may end up losing in the not too distant future? Now, what we've revealed is that actually, when he was going to be suspended for 10 months for his gambling ban in 2023, he offered to take a voluntary pay cut, and also Newcastle extended his contract by another year to 2029. Also within that, there is a option to extend that by a further 12 months. So Newcastle, and it's in the club's favour, so Newcastle essentially have Sandro Tonali tied down till 2030. That doesn't stop talk of his future. That doesn't mean that someone else cannot offer him very high wages potentially that Newcastle can't match. He is one of their highest earners, but it does make the need to set time to a new deal slightly less. It isn't as immediate as it once felt, and it feels big for Newcastle that they managed to do that, and that's actually a positive move for them. And it actually happened 2 years ago in secret, but so that's hopefully a bit of a boost for Newcastle as they look to keep hold of Sandro Tonali, who's probably become their most important player.
Yeah, all right, let's bring the tone down slightly, Chris, as we talk about Newcastle's Premier League form right now, currently 14th in the table after the defeat against Brighton last weekend. From your honest perspective, where do you see the issues at right now with Newcastle?
So attacking wise, they just haven't been, not just scoring goals, they haven't really been creating enough in the Premier League. Defensively, they've been magnificent. I mean, they've got 5 clean sheets already in the Premier League. Only Arsenal have got more. And basically, away from home, until Brighton, they hadn't scored a goal, but they hadn't conceded any yet. And you look at the back line, you think it's very settled. They've got Sven Botman and Malik Chow's come in, done brilliantly. Dan Burns had to shift over to left back. They've lost, actually, their 2 starting fullbacks in Lewis Hall and Tino Livramento, and still have been able to adapt beyond that. But then going forward, it's still a work in progress, and that was always likely to be the case, particularly given the Isak saga dragged out throughout the entire summer. But really, the Wissa injury has affected them further. It's meant that there's been a greater need to evolve more to accommodate Nick Voldemade, and I think it's just been a bit too much given the lack of training time they have because of the volume of matches. So that's really where the issues are. And they need to, we keep saying this because they've done it a few times, against Bradford in the League Cup, they did against Union Saint-Gilloise, to then translate it in the Premier League. It hasn't happened yet, but they have to hope that after Benfica, Anthony Gordon can show the form that he did there, because if he did, then Newcastle will quickly start to rise in the Premier League table.
Really appreciate your time, Chris. Also, Ollie, always appreciate your time, and Andy for joining us a little earlier as well. And also thank you guys for watching. If you obviously like what we're doing here, make sure you like and subscribe to the channel, and also leave us a cheeky comment as well. All right, we'll see you soon. For more from the Athletic FC podcast, make sure you like and subscribe to the channel. We've got top journalists like David Ornstein, Matt Slater, Adam Crafton, Carl Anker, and plenty more through the entire season. Make sure you don't miss an episode of the Athletic FC. You can get it wherever you get your podcasts from.
Hello, welcome to Wednesday's ESPN FC Live. Mark Donaldson, Shaka Hislop, looking back to the Champions League action from Tuesday, looking ahead to today's Champions League action, and a wee sneak peek ahead to the weekend. El Clasico, Real Madrid against Barcelona. I know Shaka wanted to start with Newcastle and how they're going to win the Champions League, but we'll make him wait to talk about the 3-0 win over Benfica. Let's start with Arsenal before you get too carried away. And Arsenal fans have got perfect reason to get carried away. A thumping win over Athletico Madrid by 4-0. 8 goals scored in total, 0 conceded. We'll get to Atleti's struggles on the road shortly. But Arsenal, are they in Europe's top 3, top 5 teams right now? What do you reckon, Shaq?
Oh, I'll go further than that. I'll say Arsenal are in Europe's top 2 teams right now. Defending champions PSG, we all saw yesterday, looked outstanding, as to be expected. And then I think Arsenal are second only to them. And listen, I know Real Madrid still have the potential, they're still 100% and can join them on 9 points after today's action. But Arsenal, for me, are looking quite the outfit. Not as free-flowing, not as free-scoring as PSG, but as defensively sound as anybody in Europe. They know who they are. They have an identity. They now have a depth of their squad that will see them compete on multiple fronts. So, yes, to your question, Mark, without question, Arsenal for me are in the top 5, in the top 3, in my opinion, top 2 in European football.
Just looking at some of their games of late, since that defeat at Anfield at the end of August. They've only conceded 2 goals. That was at Newcastle and also the 1-1 draw against Manchester City. And I'm glad you touched upon the slight differences from them last year and this year. What would you say, as a goalkeeper playing behind a defence like this, what do you think they're getting right and that teams are finding it so difficult to score against them right now?
I just feel like Arsenal are very organised. And I know I almost don't want to be overly dismissive in how good they were last season defensively as well. But now they seem even better organised. They seem even more difficult to break down. David Raya, who, I'll be honest, when he first signed for Arsenal, I questioned that signing. I hold my hands up. I got that wrong because he has been outstanding, but was largely spectator against Athletico Madrid. And that's speaking very highly of a defense up against Athletico Madrid. And while we can be very critical of Athletico Madrid, Atleti scored 5 against Real Madrid. So they've been up and down this season, and I'm sure Diego Simeone would like to take some of those games back. But Arsenal just looked unbothered, untroubled. It got to the point where at halftime they're still nil, and you think, is this going to be one of those games? And you know, we have these conversations about those games that I see in inverted commas where you're dominant, you're the better team, it looks like you're about to run away with it, but you don't take your chances, and then all of a sudden you get this sucker punch. And you just wondered if that was going to be the case for Arsenal yesterday. And once they broke the deadlock, Arsenal made very light work of Atletico Madrid. Those fears kind of go flying out of the window, and Arsenal just cruised to victory. And that's the thing. We are talking Champions League football here. We are talking Atletico Madrid here.
Yeah.
And it was an absolutely, second half was a cruise. Maybe things would have been different if they'd found the back of the net in the first half. That one opportunity, but truth be told, Arsenal were by far and away the better of the two teams.
Is Arsenal's only weakness right now the fact that they haven't got silverware with these players so far? Something they could easily do this season, but I can't find any more weaknesses in that squad.
So I'll use a Frank Leboeuf quote here, who always says, you have to hit the post first before the ball eventually goes in. Meaning, you always get to a final. You always kind of stumble at that final hurdle before it comes good for you. Now, well, we can say Arsenal stumbled at that final hurdle domestically. I'm not sure when last Arsenal has gotten to a final, have gotten that experience of playing on European football's highest stage. Maybe that comes back to cost them. Maybe this is the year that they do hit the post. Who knows? But as of right now, as I mentioned, they are unquestionably in the top 2 of European football. Now, PSG lost their final to Bayern Munich a few years ago, and while that's a few years ago and a lot has changed since then, it finally comes good for them last year. They have that experience. They know they can do it on that stage. They have that confidence. Now, the question is, does Arsenal, can they muster what it takes to win a European final? This season, we'll know for sure. You just kind of feel that if Arsenal don't at least get to the final, and I know the draw has a lot to do with this, if Arsenal don't at least get to the final this year, you start to question so much of their mentality.
As always on ESPN FC Live, we're taking your questions, and we've had one in about Arsenal, Shaq, and the question is simple. The way that they're playing right now, can they now attract, potentially going forward, if they can bring silverware to the football club, the best players in the world and not get beaten to players by the likes of Chelsea and Liverpool?
Well, I think Arsenal have established themselves as a contender, both domestically and in Europe for quite some time. And if Arsenal are losing out to other clubs, it's because other clubs are willing to spend for whatever reason. However that happens, that's the only stumbling block in terms of Arsenal getting exactly who they target. No, I can't comment on what Chelsea or Liverpool may be willing to pay compared to Arsenal. Arsenal are a well-run football club. I'm sure they have their ceiling, and they make as good business decisions as they do football decisions. That's the only kind of difference between Arsenal getting their man and not.
Atletico Madrid. Now, I did them at the weekend, but they were at home, and they usually win, or certainly don't lose at home. They beat Real Madrid by 5-2 earlier this season. They beat Osasuna at the weekend, but they lost 4-0 at Arsenal. Now, that's the fourth time in 8 Champions League away games that they've conceded 4 goals. They haven't won away from home yet in La Liga this season. They go to Betis live on ESPN Plus on Monday, and they've only won 3 times in La Liga on their travels in 2025. It got to the extent yesterday, Shaka, that their players went over, kind of asked for a grovelling apology from some angry supporters that had travelled from the Spanish capital. Why is there such a dichotomy between home and away form?
I couldn't tell you. And listen, my one criticism of Diego Simeone as Atletico Madrid manager, particularly over the last 3, maybe 4 years, is I think he's built a squad that can play good football. But every time they suffer a defeat, every time they get a punch on the chin, they revert to this Diego Simeone pragmatic, for want of a far stronger description, way of playing football. I just don't think he signed the players that Atletico and Diego Simeone have, and then go back to playing defensive football. And maybe that's what caught them out this time around. Maybe that's kind of been their undoing on the road, where they can be a little bit more open at home, but then all of a sudden when they go on the road, they're more pragmatic. And I just don't feel that's when they're at their best. And again, as I mentioned, results for Atletico, you have mentioned, results for Atletico have been a little bit up and down. Just look back, was it 3 weeks to that Real Madrid performance?
Yeah.
And how good it was. Everything about it, falling behind and their response just spoke to how good this team can be. Yet still, they go on the road and there's this kind of negative, overly defensive posture about them. But I just don't think they're suited to.
It's been quite the week for Evangelos Marinakis, not only the owner of Nottingham Forest, who sacked their coach 19 minutes after full time. Then he went to Catalonia, and his Olympiacos side was thumped 6-1 by Barcelona. Now, there was a second yellow, which I've seen many dodgy decisions over the years. I say dodgy, I mean scandalous, wrong. And it was a shocker. But let's focus on Barcelona, because 10 men or 11 in opposition, they played some really good stuff. Is it easier to do that when the opposition is like that, or is this a case of, hey, we saw Barcelona struggle against Girona before getting the job done. This was them at times at their best.
Well, you have to go back to that sending off, which I'm with you, Mark. How is that a sending off is simply beyond me. And listen, I get the rules that VAR doesn't, kind of interfere with yellow cards, and this ultimately was a second yellow card. But it was just a god-awful decision. And I felt the game changed on that. And while we could talk about Barcelona and the 6 goals and everything that comes with it, I thought that changed the game entirely. That sending off changed the game entirely. That being said, if you're Barcelona, you're going into what will be the biggest, at the very least, league game of the season. This was a welcome performance. This was an absolutely welcome result. You've got like Fermin Lopez grabbing 3, Marcus Rashford, who continues his fine run in European football. And while Barca had been suffering with injuries, all of a sudden you get a performance, you get a scoreline that just fills you with confidence. So on the one hand, I want to say, yes, this is Barcelona at their absolute best. This was a joy to watch. 6 goals in European football and all that comes with it. I felt that sending off had such a dramatic effect on the game that I take that Barcelona result with a little pinch of salt. A lot of positives to come from it, but as a neutral, there's a big handful of salt that comes with it.
I know he's no longer at the football club, but he's still a Barcelona legend, Xavi. And over 15 players came through, made their professional debuts, who'd come through the ranks at La Masia, including Fermin Lopez, who got that hat-trick against Olympiacos. Talk to me about the fabric of that football club and how it's integrated with La Masia.
It's difficult to understand, it's difficult to explain. If it were easy to, a lot more clubs would do it, quite simply. But when you have the talents of Fermin Lopez, Lamine Yamal, Casado, Pedri, Gavi, and the names just keep rolling off his tongue, and in such quick succession, and all these players having such an impact on not just this football club, but let's be honest, football in general. How do you explain that? It doesn't feel like a one-off. It feels like Barcelona are able to do this, La Masia is able to do this with some consistency. And I don't know how you understand or explain that. Credit for Fermin Lopez. And you mentioned, gets his hat-trick, wonderfully taken hat-trick. I'm not sure at the start of the season how many minutes he truly expected to play, especially given the position that he plays in, where Robert Lewandowski would largely occupy, or Dani Olmo would largely occupy. But he comes in and he has this very different look to how he plays that number 9 position. And I thought that opening goal was Fermin Lopez and his versatility kind of encapsulated. Great ball in, an incredible turn, and just the way he links play up, where he joins in when from deep at times, or while playing on number 9, offers a mobility that Robert Lewandowski maybe doesn't. He's not the finisher that Lewandowski is, but he just provides this different look to Barcelona that once you get the understanding of, and everybody around him seems to, is a joy to have and a joy to play off of. And again, just so different from a Robert Lewandowski, who offers a different threat, but almost seemingly equally lethal threat.
We'll get to previewing today's Champions League action shortly, but during the Villarreal against Manchester City game yesterday, an announcement was made that the La Liga match, which was scheduled for Miami in December, Villarreal against Barcelona, would no longer take place. Now, I was commentating on Atleti at the weekend, and that was one of every top flight game where for the first 15 seconds, the players refused to play. They protested. How big a part do you think the players and the players' union in Spain have had to play in getting this game reversed and back to El Madrigal rather than Miami?
Well, first of all, having that game played in Miami didn't really make an awful lot of sense to me. In that I felt it upset a competitive balance, and quite clearly, all the players felt similarly. Now, on the one hand, you want to say stop doing play for 15 seconds, doesn't have a huge impact, but it raises awareness around the issue. It raises awareness around how the players and how all the other clubs that aren't Barcelona and Villarreal feel about it. And it at the very least gets fans talking, it gets media talking, and kind of ramps up the pressure on La Liga as to better explaining the decision that they made, or somehow making it make sense to everybody else. And quite clearly they didn't, and I applaud the players and the players union for their stance, because something I think had to be addressed, whether it's just by way of better explaining the decision or letting clubs know how they all benefit, how the league benefits from this. Quite clearly Tebas couldn't, he didn't, and just kind of reversing course, I thought was the only recourse for La Liga. Now, where we go from here, because I don't think this idea in itself is dead, but it'll take a whole lot better planning, a whole lot more thought to get this off the ground that we saw this time around.
One of my favourite fixtures, not just in La Liga or in European football, but anywhere in the world, takes place this weekend. It's El Clasico.
Yeah.
We'll preview Real Madrid in the Champions League today shortly. We've already looked back at Barcelona yesterday. Barca had the better of it last season, winning home and away in La Liga. That last game was 4-3. And it's at the Bernabeu this weekend, live on ESPN+. Who's the favourite for this one? Is it Real Madrid with home advantage?
It's Real Madrid. You look back on all of last season where Barcelona just simply had the better of Real Madrid consistently. And you cannot help but think back to that first game where Kylian Mbappe was called offside as many times as he did. I think it was last count was 8 or something of the sort. I think Kylian Mbappe has now settled. He's playing his best football for Real Madrid, arguably his best football of his career. And this kind of suicidal high line that Hansi Flick insists on may be their undoing. Kylian Mbappe is the quickest player on the planet. And to do so, to play that high line, to offer that space in behind, with him playing with the confidence that he is, I think is borderline suicidal. At the Bernabeu, I expect Real Madrid to win this one. I'm a little skeptical that they win convincingly. I'm not sure whether it'll be 4 or 5, but I think Real Madrid win it. And so to your question, Mark, yes, for me, unquestionably, favourites going into this one.
Just thinking about last October when Barca went there and won by 4-0. Prior to the game, I'm sure Real Madrid were probably the favourites for that one as well. It's a fixture that at times you expect the unexpected. I've picked out a game that I remember, not purely because of who won, but it was a game that you knew right from the start, and that both sides had basically said, look, defending is optional. We think we can score more than the other. And there's been a few matches like that over the years, but this is going back to 2014, and it finished Real Madrid 3, Barcelona 4. And it was the glory days. Messi scored a hat-trick. Ronaldo scored for Real Madrid. It was just one of those games as a neutral that you were getting annoyed at the referee because you knew he had to blow the final whistle.
Yeah.
Is there a game in the past or a time frame that La Liga's El Clasico means the most to you? Is there one game in particular or one time frame that you remember fondly?
No, I mean that Messi Ronaldo time frame I think is etched in everybody's minds. And if you're a neutral as far as these clubs are concerned, I'm not sure that there's any one game in particular that necessarily stands out outside of the some of the big results. There was a Barcelona 6, Real Madrid. I can't remember what the score was. I can't remember what year it was. But these games, I think, has everybody pinned to their seats. This game means more than any other in world football for so many reasons. And this one, I think, might not have the sparkle that some of the previous Clásicos does, but it still has more sparkle than any other game in world football. And I think this could prove to be just as high scoring as at the very least last season. For the reason that I spoke about Real Madrid and Mbappe and Barcelona's high line, but also remember Real Madrid had come into this one with defensive injuries of their own, and a Barcelona team whose philosophy is we're going to outscore you. So this has the underpinnings of a high scoring game as well. All Clásicos are well worth the viewing.
I don't think it'll be near it. Robin providing the width. Cannavaro at the back with Sergio Ramos. Barcelona with Eto'o, Messi and Thierry Henry. With Xavi and Iniesta in behind. Just glory days. And now it's the next generation, isn't it? It's the talented youngsters at Real Madrid against the talented youngsters at Barcelona. So that's certainly one to watch this weekend on ESPN+. Now, speaking of Real Madrid, Juventus, it's a matchup that just is two of European football's giants. But Juve's not the Juve that we remember from back in the day. They're not your mother or father's Juventus. Right now, Real Madrid at home to Juventus. Is this an opportunity then for potentially to turn on the style and win 3 points with a bit of aplomb, Shaka, against Juve?
Absolutely, and I think Real Madrid will be looking forward to this. Looking forward to joining two others. I think it is right now. Bayern can join them. PSG and Arsenal with 9 points, as can Real Madrid. So it's an opportunity for them against the Juventus team who 2 points, both scored and conceded, more to the point, 6 goals. Decent opposition in Dortmund and Villarreal. But Real Madrid will be thinking of this one at home as an opportunity to win big. They obviously would have seen what Barcelona did yesterday and will want a similar performance, if not a similar scoreline that they can take into the weekend with an awful lot of confidence. I think this is a real opportunity for Real Madrid to again make a stamp on European football against a Juventus team that are having their issues. We spoke about them in Europe. Lost domestically on the weekend against Como under a lot of pressure. Real Madrid will see this as an opportunity to turn the pressure up on Juve as much as anything. But more importantly for them, just in terms of what's to come on the weekend, an opportunity to go with similarly high spirits.
You mentioned that defeat at Como at the weekend, and that came on the back of 5 consecutive draws. They haven't won since a 4-3 win over Inter in the Derby d'Italia. Are they just another side now in Italy with a storied name, but not really with a fear factor for the opposition?
Yeah, it absolutely feels that way. And to be honest, Mark, it's felt that way for some time. You know, I'm trying to think back to when Juventus really had the kind of, really offered any kind of fear factor about them, either in Europe or largely domestically in so many ways. And that for me, big clubs have their role in football, and Juventus just hasn't lived up to their ability. I'd love to see that. I hope to see them back sooner rather than later, but it's not this season. This season is not the one where we are kind of salivating at the prospect of Juventus and all that they bring.
Remember when we had the Serie A rights on ESPN and I was covering them, they were 9 consecutive titles, and then they lost it in the COVID season. And it's hard to think now, Shaka, because 2019-20 was their last title. And even back then, they still had that fear factor. They've fallen a long way in those 5 years since, have they not?
They absolutely have. And again, it's difficult to explain. Maybe it's something about Italian football and maybe their inability to keep a pace with the money that is coming into the other big 5 European leagues.
Benfica, Ajax,
but Real Madrid,
always things that you can
Juventus,
after the game.
It's just been
exactly the same after the final whistle.
a precipitous decline
Chelsea on 3
over
points
the
at the
last
moment.
5 or
Ajax
6 years.
yet
But I'm
to
not
pick up
sure.
the points
I'm not.
in the league phase. Here's everything you need to know about the other late fixtures. Andy, we're going to do a quick fire little piece here, starting with Atalanta, Sparta Prague. What should we be looking out for there?
Well, the Atalanta slayed a ghost from last season's UEFA Champions League in their last game at home in Bergamo as they beat Club Brugge, the team that knocked them out last season. They'll hope to continue that good home run.
So Slavia Prague at Atalanta. Big game in Germany tonight, Frankfurt against Liverpool.
Yeah, Liverpool, of course, want to bring an end to that run of 4 successive defeats, which is quite unprecedented, but they do it at Frankfurt Stadion, where they won 5-1 against Galatasaray in their previous home game in the UEFA Champions League. Time out against Napoli. He faces his former club, Marseille, tonight.
Monaco hosting Tottenham Hotspur this evening.
And talking of facing former clubs, we were hoping this would be the Eric Dyer derby. Of course, Eric Dyer injured and not fit to play in this game. But of course, we've been seeing a lot on social media about Glenn Hoddle, a famous alumnus of both of those 2 teams this week.
And a wonderful footballer. And finally, another big game, Bayern against Club Brugge.
Yeah, so moving on from midfield craft from a previous generation to the next one, Lennart Karlsson Carvajal is starting this one for Bayern, just 17 years old, his first UEFA Champions League start. He's going to be next to Harry Kane, who scored his 400th club goal at the weekend.
And is playing rather well at the moment.
You could say.
For the German champions. All of those games kicking off in 7 minutes' time. We'll bring you the goals as they go in right here on Matchday Live, and you can follow every game in their respective match centres by heading to championsleague.com or on the official app. But the noise you can hear in the background, the unmistakable tones of the Bernabeu before every game, but Ala Madrid, this world-famous club anthem before a Champions League game, is that bit louder. So often we've heard Ala Madrid's the final whistle at the final, the 15-time winners, and this newly renovated stadium, the Bernabeu, it looks very different to 3 or 4 years ago. Andy, they've done a terrific job, and on nights like this it comes alive, particularly against opponents like this. There'll be an awful lot of mutual respect from both clubs, you feel tonight, knowing historically what they have achieved in the Champions League and before that the European Cup.
Absolutely, and you're right, the Bernabeu does add to that sense of occasion, Chris. And when you go to the higher decks of the Bernabeu, you go up and it says vomitorio, and you think, blimey, that's because you're a bit vertiginous right at the top. It feels almost as if you're going to fall on top of the pitch. And I think the players really feel that sense that the crowd are very much part of the game.
Mike Sewell alongside Andy tonight for commentary, and Mike's back with us. There was a very interesting quote, I thought, from Thibaut Courtois ahead of this one. Real Madrid, of course, didn't finish in the top 8 last season, one of the automatic berths to go through to the round of 16. He was talking about that, and there was a real steel in his eye, as if he and the squad in the summer thought, this time we are going to finish in one of those top 8 spots, and of course win tonight, they would move on to 9 points.
Indeed, and I think Manchester City would also agree with that. They learnt a lot of lessons last season from the new league phase, in that you don't want to be ending up in the playoff section, and they left it too late to get themselves into the automatic places to make it into the next round. So yes, clubs like Real Madrid should really automatically be going through with the history that they have, and he knows that, and they want to avoid having to play those extra games in February. That's just a bit of a nuisance, a bit of an inconvenience for them if they were to end up back in the playoffs again.
Yeah, Thibaut Courtois mentioned that. He said, oh, we don't want 3 games a week in February, we want 3 games a week in May, when hopefully we win it for a 16th time. The teams are in the tunnel right now, the famous tunnel, the steps that go down before they emerge onto this pristine playing surface. Last night, Andy, Paris, Inter and Arsenal made it 3 wins from 3, so that the big hitters are gathering near the top of the league phase. Both these clubs, of course, will be looking to join them. 2 points for Juventus so far, 2 draws. This clearly a very big night for them, not just coming to the Bernabeu, but giving them
tripling right here, right now. But what better way they would.
to it. Maybe going 4-5-1, but that depends how much defending they have to do. But Chelsea, for them, get on the front foot straight away.
Indeed, and I mean, the home side take the game to them. All three English sides last night 1-0. I think the strength of the Premier League is showing its teeth again. Arsenal excellent second half against Athletico. Newcastle taking care of Benfica better than we did. They're not a great side, Benfica, but Newcastle put to the sword, and Man City winning 2-0. Erling Haaland scoring a surprising goal. Can we win 2-0? Any result is a good result, of course, as long as we win 2-0. But I want to see a performance, Dave. I want to see something that puts down a bit of a marker, that shows that we're back in the Champions League. Going away to Bayern Munich, I actually thought we played better against Bayern Munich than we did against Benfica. I'm brutally honest with you. But the quality of Bayern Munich eventually showed. Mistakes individually cost us. And we rode our luck a little bit against Benfica, unconvincing, but we took the win. I just want to see, and I don't expect Ajax to roll over. I want to see us start this game, get this crowd, get this Chelsea crowd behind us early on in this game, take the game to them. They're in bad form. There's, they must come here doubting themselves. Don't disappoint them. Let that doubt continue. Don't allow them in the game. Have possession, good possession. But when the ball is on to go forward, go forward. Marc Gueye, really interested to see Marc Gueye play up top, right? Because he came on at half-time against Forest. I know that he's not going to get the plaudits because eventually the goals came from different areas. Josh Eshimponga was excellent, not involved tonight. But he was one of the reasons, other than Caicedo coming in that midfield, he was one of the reasons that we really did have an attacking force. Plays to his strengths. He's a strong, willing runner. He's robust. He will force errors if you allow him to get close to centre halves. Play to his strengths. You got Bodo. I'm looking now at the lineup. Gittins is on the left. Esteval looks like he's on the right. From what we can see at the moment, Bonanotte looks like he's going as a 10, Dave.
Ajax get the game off and underway, kicking from left to right towards Matthew Hardy in the first half, playing in a kind of grey, kind of whitey grey type strip, and the ball's away down the right-hand side for the away side. Chelsea get the throw-in down their left, and I think you're absolutely spot on because Esteban was pulled way out towards the right. Bonanotte in the centre.
I'm amazed that all of the outlets have gone with it, to be honest. I think it's an uneducated guess, you and I, Dave. The educated, I'm not even going to say guess, Dave. I'm going to say wisdom. How about that?
That's a great word to start with.
There we go. But maybe they don't watch Chelsea as much as we do. Just on that, Ikatura there, the number 4 there. His first thing Guieu's done, he's got up alongside him, pushed his body alongside him. Chelsea get a throw in. That's the physicality I'm looking for. Marc Guieu looking to impose himself on their two centre halves.
Fofana out towards the right for Chelsea early on. Esteban trying to cut in from the right-hand side, midway inside the Ajax half. Played back to Caicedo, who's inverting just as we thought he would. It's played towards the left, and Fernandes, Hato back to Tosin. Tosin across the back line. Fofana on the halfway line for Chelsea, who have the bulk of possession in the early stages. Played short across to Hato once again, playing against his former club. Joined Chelsea in the summer from Ajax. It's worked out towards Slavia, just outside the centre circle. Room on the left-hand side here for Gittins to try and make progress. Moves it infield. It's played back to Hato once again, and then stabbed back to Tosin in the centre circle. Tosin with a short ball to Fofana. Ajax with everyone back behind the ball, trying to hold a shape here. Sat in a 4-3-3 at the moment. Gittins in possession once again down the Chelsea left. Good run here by Gittins. Takes in past Rosa down the left, right for the ball into the penalty area. Headed clear by Sotalo at the back there for Ajax. They'll bring it clear towards halfway.
I think the referee's given a free kick there against Hato. Has he? He's run out. It has to be a free kick because I think is it Rosa that knocks the ball out?
Yes, and he's given a free kick right down on the touchline.
Just looking at their shape, they're playing a 4-3-3, but out of possession, it's a 4-4-2 or a 4-5-1. Weghorst is the main. He's the main target man. You've got Glock, who's coming out of that midfield to join him, and their midfield, and then Morrow drops in alongside McConnell and Taylor, and Goditz as well. Teams change in possession, out of possession.
Morrow has gone down the right here for Ajax. He got the better, first of all, of how Tua comes back with a secondary challenge, and this time wins it back for Chelsea, leaving Morrow on the deck and appealing for a free kick, which is not going to be given. And now Bodo runs clear in midfield for Chelsea, finding Enzo Fernandez. Esteval down the right, the ball through by Fernandez to Esteval. Didn't reach the intended target, and Ajax will clear inside their own half. Played back into the back line.
Sorry, Dave, what a chance. We do so well. Lavia does so well to break out of a very tight area. Buonanotte gets the ball out of his feet, plays it to Enzo in the middle of the park, and the pass out to Esteval. Not only is it on, it's a pass where he can get a 1v1. He underhits the pass. When I say he underhits it by some distance. In the end, Bass comes out, cuts it out. Cheap ball given away there. That's one of those passes that you'll never know what it would lead to, but the promise in the build-up before he strikes the ball offered so much.
Glock for Ajax, who's a creative force in midfield. They spent a big win on him from Salzburg in the summer. They played it down the left-hand side. Kenneth Taylor for the visitors. Glock once again, now back to Bass on the left-hand side, having their first real spell of possession in the game here. McConnell in midfield for the visitors, plays it back once again to Sotalo, finding McConnell, and McConnell running away pretty much bang on halfway, finding Rosa towards the right, gets a nudge there from Gittins, gets it back from Morrow on halfway and plays it all the way back once more. Chelsea forcing Ajax back, but the visitors are retaining possession with Rosa once more, and Rosa will go back to his goalkeeper Remco Pasveer, who was taking the place of Vitesse Jaros, who's on loan from Liverpool, played all the games so far this season, but the very experienced Pasveer in goal tonight.
Yeah, just looking at us out of possession at the moment, there's definitely not a press, and we're kind of allowing them in some areas to have the ball, in particular their final third and just over the halfway line. Rescue handball.
Free kick's been given.
It hits his hand. You can't deny that. I worry, Dave, the way that the game is officiated. I mean, how that's handball. It struck his arm, but the handball law is the biggest mystery to me between the way the game is officiated in the Premier League and across Europe, and expect some strange decisions. See that there, where we've just seen Pasveer just play that ball out into Saluto, he plays the ball into.
Play forward now, looking for Weghorst, and Jorgensen was way out of his penalty area. Bit of a tangle on the edge of the box. Chelsea have got it clear anyway down their left. Fofana has come to deal with it, but there was confusion between Fofana and Jorgensen with the ball through after a touch by Weghorst. In the end, Chelsea escape. Yeah,
Jorgensen needs to stay in his line. He's the one that's going to cause the problem there for Fofana. He, of course, was the reason that Fofana was left out of the games, because he was concussed against Lincoln. Stay in your box, let your defenders deal with it. Decision making is crucial for every player, but sometimes when the goalkeeper leaves his box, even more so.
Lavia trying to feed it through to Guillou, but the ball there was too long and easy for Remco Pasveer in the Ajax goal. He'll look to bowl it out, and plays it out short, in fact, to Sitalo. Away towards the left-hand side, and Yuri Bass looking to play it forward. Weghorst will be a willing front man and lays it off neatly, and now it's forward through to Glock, who's managed to get in behind here, albeit he is wide on the left-hand side now in the area. Not too much support, but Glock might not need it. Goes towards the byline now. Glock turns again up against the recovering Lavia. The shot's fired goalwards by Götze. It's just about blocked in the back line for Chelsea, and they'll bring it away here with Caicedo. Danger at the back there, still being played around, and should be played back with Tosin now, but danger there as Ajax got away.
Carved open, Dave. Carved open. Glock's run from deep. He's the one that's going to join Weghorst. He's the one that's coming out of midfield. You've got the two white men, Goditz and Morrow. They're the ones that are making the 5 in the midfield, or the 4. Glock is the one that's joining. It's a brilliant run from deep. He's onside by some distance, but to run from deep through the centre of our defence and pick up the ball and eventually get the ball and get his head up. Well, the first sign there that this Chelsea side, it's not an accustomed Chelsea side. It's not a side that we've seen played before. It's a weakened understandably, as I pointed out, the fact that Maresca is looking to do something different with the games coming up. But that shot across that bows.
Esteval has it midway inside the Ajax half down the right. Nearly 8 minutes played here. Chelsea 0, Ajax 0 at Stamford Bridge, and Esteval plays it to Enzo Fernandez coming in from the right now. The option is a short one with Caicedo. It goes long away towards the left instead, controlled by Gittins, and in fact the offside flag has gone up.
Do you know what? Right? So that ball there from Enzo, it's a brilliant ball. What they're doing, Ajax, they are saturating half of the pitch. They are happy to say to Gittins, look, that ball, if it's going to go from wide right to wide left, the ball has got to travel some distance and at some pace. And Guillaume's done brilliant there to close down Postvir, and there's a bit of pressure. It's the first time we've actually pressed them, Dave. Going back to the point I was making, with Gittins coming out on this left, he's offside. He shouldn't be offside. He can see right across the line on this left-hand side, but they are saturating parts of the pitch, and they're happy to forgive an area. And it's probably the best thing to do, because the ball's the most important thing. If Chelsea play in tight areas, we're going to try and outnumber them. Then you have to switch the ball. Now the ball's in the middle of the park. Defensively, they can spread, the back four in particular. If the ball's in one area, they will all shuffle across. They will forget about the wide men. Gittins on one side, Esteval on the other.
And Gittins at the moment in absolutely acres of space, as is Esteval. So on those far sides, there is space for the two Chelsea wide men. The ball is currently in the centre circle with Tosin, who goes for a ball up to Guillaume, who tries to hold the ball up but loses out, and McConnell tries to bring it forward for Ajax. Biting in there is Lavia. Now Buonanotte trying to shift it forward. Guillaume couldn't quite get a flick onto it. Might fall to Buonanotte again. It's Morrow trying to bring it clear for Ajax. Gets it again in the centre field. Tosin sprays it out towards the right. Good ball by Tosin, finding Esteval now. Can he run the defender? Esteval going right towards the byline, pulls it across, and wins Chelsea their first corner of the game.
Yeah, really scrappy in the middle of the park. Chelsea giving the ball away, so are Ajax. Ball goes into Guillaume, slightly behind him, tries to whip get his left foot or right foot behind it. Ekatua then plays the ball in, it ricochets around, Lavia goes in there. Tosin's ball, he strides onto one of those passes that have been misplaced, plays a lovely ball out to the right hand side to Esteval, runs it his fullback Bass, gets the corner. First corner of the day.
Esteval with the corner from the right-hand side, taken in towards the near post. The flick on came from the Ajax player and goes right across the face of goal, and out to play the far side for a corner.
No one far post, Dave. No one far post. It's a brilliant delivery from Esteval. It does everything you want it to do. Whipped in towards that near post. It's got bend, it's got whip, it's got pace, it's got the lot. No one far post. Drifts behind for another corner.
So it will be a corner this time from the left to be taken by Enzo Fernandez with the right foot. The short option was there with Gittins, and now dropped into the penalty area. Hato is there too, near post. It comes in towards that near post where it's almost flipped across by Hato, and the referee has found an infringement in the area and has brought the game to a halt, and it will be a free kick to Ajax. Felix Zweier, the German referee in charge, spotting some kind of pushing and shoving in the penalty area. Free kick to Ajax.
Well, I followed the ball, I've got no idea what the referee saw. No complaints from, I think it was explained to Lavia actually, that I don't know the international.
It's way off because the corner came in near post, but the infringement was way beyond that.
Yeah,
anyway.
No idea. Anyway, players restarted.
Ajax coming forward down there left, looking for Weghorst against Tosin here, and Weghorst actually done really well to hold the ball up there on halfway and get it back to Bass on the left hand side. Again they try and feed it through midfield, and it goes beyond Glock and way out towards the right where it's controlled. No, just about. Morrow couldn't quite keep it in play from an expansive ball out towards the right hand side, and Chelsea get a throw in.
I'm going to have a little moan, Dave, if that's okay
moan
with
away,
you. Yeah, allowing Ajax to be a little bit too comfortable on the ball. I'm not sure that there's an intensity about our play out of possession at the moment, and there's a little bit of, we don't know whether stick or twist. However, we've got the ball with Esteval on the right hand side.
Yeah, Esteval receiving there from Caicedo, back to Enzo Fernandez, who gets robbed of the ball in possession. It's played forward long down the right. Referee not giving a free kick in favour of Weghorst, so play will go on down the Chelsea right.
They're making sure, and it's actually a very good tactic, where the ball is. If we're not prepared to switch play, then they are probably going to have a lot of joy, especially when the ball's in wide areas. When the ball's centrally, they can afford to actually kind of spread themselves quite well, which they're doing right now. Look at them all shuffle across. You can see those shirts, those kind of cream shirts, shuffle across.
Play forward looking for Guillaume now, and Guillaume could be in behind here. Keeper, to be fair, was very quickly off his line, past fear, and came out to meet Mark Guillaume from the ball through by Fernandez, I think it was, and the keeper did well, and Chelsea in the corner.
Brilliant ball, brilliant run. Who is it that plays the ball?
I think it's Enzo.
Yeah, it is Enzo. He's onside. Plays the ball in behind the centre half. I don't think, anyway, the corner's been taken, and they deal with that.
Clear in the area.
Yeah, it was taken quickly. That's a brilliant run, because they are so well organised in terms of their shape. They are quite spread out when the ball's centrally. It's when the ball goes over to the left or the right hand side, they all go across and saturate an area. Basically when the ball goes over to either Gittins or Esteval, they're happy to double up and treble up and find it for him to come inside.
Beautiful stuff from Esteval, trying to ship it towards the far post. It goes just beyond that far post with Gittins coming in. So I guess the question is, if they do all shuffle across like that to, as you say, double up, treble up, can Chelsea switch the play quickly and get it back across the free area?
It's recognising when that ball can be played and how quickly it can be done, because they are looking at this game. What's the lesser of the two evils, right? We're going to come across, we're going to stop their wide men, and when inadvertently, when you're stopping the wide men get the ball, or certainly crowd him out, the ball into the middle of the park is very difficult. There are spare players on the pitch. Wherever way you set up, there's always someone, when you've got the ball, there's always someone that's spare. At the moment, the two wide men, when the ball's out in the wide areas, on the left-hand side with Gittins, you've got Esteval in space. When it's centrally, they're kind of waiting to see which side it goes. As it springs out to one side or the other, they will all come across. They get attracted to the ball.
Hato combines there with Gittins down the left, and Hato tries to run into the area. Itakura got a touch onto it, which I have to see it back to Pasveer in the Ajax goal, and he'll move it away down there, or centre in fact away down there left, and the pass through is cut out by Esteval. Challenge comes sliding in. That'll be the first yellow card of the evening, I think, because that was a really quite a robust challenge down there by was that Itakura there? I'm just trying to
Taylor
pick out who it was. It could be Taylor, in fact. You are right, yes. Yeah, Taylor gets the yellow, and he was late with that.
Yeah, it's a lunge. They don't like lunges, do they? Taylor's cut inside. Ooh, do you know what, right?
Well, that's on Buonanotte, and that's quite high up the...
Do you know what, right? Knowing the way the games are officiated across Europe, a VAR will definitely be looking at this. On a personal level, Dave, I think a yellow card is enough.
Yep.
But it's one of those. If you go another 3 or 4 inches higher, mate, you're... It's a bad tackle.
He's taken the side of the shin.
That is a bad tackle. That is a terrible tackle. And do you know what? It would not surprise me one little bit if they have a good look at this.
Well, Enzo
that is a
is
bad
making his
tackle.
point to the fourth official. The treatment is being given here.
That is a bad tackle, and he's been sent over the referee. That is that's worse than I thought.
Yeah, it is absolutely worse than we thought on first viewing, and the referee is being sent to the screen to check a possible red card here against Kenneth Taylor. It didn't take long on the screen, I can tell you. The red card is dished out straight away. Ajax are down to 10, and the referee, I think we took about 5 seconds at the screen there. That was very quick and decisive, and Ajax are down to 10 men.
Do you know what, right? The more I looked at it, the more convinced I was it was a bad tackle. I said initially a yellow card, but he goes over the top of the ball. It's a bad challenge, that, and he's caught him. I think in the Premier League, Dave, I don't know what you think. I want your thoughts, please. I think in the Premier League, I think they go with on field.
I agree completely,
right?
yeah.
But I can see exactly why. And I said to you at the beginning of the game, games are officiated differently in Europe than they are in the Premier League. And that is one of those challenges in Europe they are outlawing. It's a bad challenge, that. There's no question. And Buonanotte took the brunt of it. Taylor is off, and there's no complaints, but Taylor just ran off. I mean, you know,
it was all done very quickly, wasn't it?
I think listen, as soon as he went over in the Champions League, as soon as you go over there, referee's mind is made up. Anyway, can we capitalise now? What a chance we've got, by the way, Dave.
Oh, yeah.
There's 70 plus minutes here.
In comes the cross from the free kick, which flicks towards the far post, knocked down by Fofana, and Togol was it in, and Chelsea do have the lead straight away from the set piece. Ajax could not deal with it, and Chelsea have found a way through straight away immediately. Chelsea 1, Ajax 0.
Well, we're going to capitalise. Down to 10 men, can you punish them? We have, in the most emphatic way. Mark, delighted for Mark, delighted for him. Devastating for Ajax. We didn't really create a great deal. Down to 10 men, they don't deal with it. They don't deal with a free kick particularly well. But I've got to say, Mark here, right place, right time. I looked at the linesman. There might be a hint of offside. Let's have a look at it from here. He's not. He's offside position from now. He's on. He's on. Actually, do you know what? He connects enough. It's not the most convincing. That, by the way, what a terrible piece of defending from Ajax. Headed back across by Fofana. Marquez gets his studs more than the side of his foot. Gets the ball past Pasveer. Chelsea 1-0 up. And they've got the numerical advantage as well. They are going to look at this, understandably so. But from our angle, I have to say, he's onside. And the goal's been given.
Goal given, and the header on by Fofana. He was onside, and Gear was still onside in the area. Gets his first Chelsea goal since returning from that all too brief, or the very brief loan spell to Sunderland. Free kicks given to Ajax now on their left. Of course, we saw Gear score a hat-trick against Shamrock back in the Conference League last season, and that time converting at close range from the header down by Fofana. But Ajax have a free kick here straight away after the restart.
Dave, I cannot remember the last time I watched a Chelsea game there wasn't red card. Honestly,
they're normally Chelsea players at the moment.
Well,
so
of course,
fingers crossed. You know.
Well, thankfully it's not us today, right? When was the last time? I'm asking myself that question as much as you.
We will look back on that, but the free kick is taken by Ajax, and that one is far too long and away. No concerns there for Jorgensen in the Chelsea goal. They now find themselves playing against 10 for the bulk of the game. We're just watching a replay on the big screen of the goal itself. There was a real miscued half clearance, allowing Fofana to head it down.
Brilliant header from Fofana. It's such an intelligent header because he's got to stoop. I need to look at who defended that on the edge of the box. It might have been Glock, you know, that sticks a leg out. Anyway, Chelsea on the attack, left-hand side. Now they've got a problem. Of course they do. They're 1-0 down with 10 men. But that shuffling across I spoke about, how they were dealing with, they can't do that now. Numerical advantage. If we get this right, we should go and win this game 3-4. Who knows? The next goal in this game is crucial.
Weghorst trying to get Ajax away. It's a crunching challenge coming in there by Hato to win it back. It bounces in midfield as Gio couldn't quite convert it forward once again. And now Sitala will play it back into his backline colleague.
We can afford now, I think, to be a little bit more aggressive on the press. Because we have that extra man, I think we can afford to squeeze an extra man, certainly in the middle of the park. And I'm looking immediately, of course, of Moises Caicedo. Can you be that extra man early on in the pitch? They've got only now Weghorst. They're playing a 4-4-1. Of course, I think we can actually be really aggressive in the next 25 minutes of this. Get the next goal in this game. Try and put this game to bed before half-time, because we spoke about the team selection, right, Maresca? He's thinking about the next 2-3 games. Spurs, of course, is in there. Sunderland is at the top of his priority, because that's the next big game. Brilliant play down.
Esteban superb down the right here for Chelsea, and coming across with a strong challenge. It's Gotts tracking back there, and that will be a Chelsea throw right down on the corner flag. Well, Esteban's actually hurt himself in the act of that particular skill. He's gone down.
He's got a little bit of a whack, you know. Lovely piece of skill. Has a touch with his left foot, flicks it beyond. Oh yeah, he's got a whack. He hasn't gone down with it. He's taken one on the top of the foot. He's all right. He's up. It's just one of those. We've all had a whack across the top of the foot. It's not pleasant.
Well, he's back up and okay, and he's back playing on, and Chelsea have taken a throw-in down the right-hand side. Played square for Lavia, about 35 yards out here. Lavia back to ping the ball straight at Hato, did well to control it. Tosin once again now back to halfway, and you would expect Chelsea, as we get to the midway point of the first half, to have all sorts of possession now, as Ajax try and dig in with this 4-4-1 formation. Gittins on the left here for Chelsea, attacking towards the edge of the penalty. Right for the ball towards the far post, is just beyond Esteban, and up for a goal kick.
Yeah, and the crowd applaud him.
Substitution for Ajax here. They're going to take off Glock They're going to take off block and bring on Jordi Mocchio if the referee allows this to take place. So this has to be a tactical move. Mocchio is only 17 years of age.
You can hear away to our left-hand side.
They're not happy.
The Ajax fans are absolutely fuming with that decision from John Heitinga, who's under big pressure already.
So Mocchio is a defensive midfield player coming on for a much more forward-thinking player in Glock. So they've lost Kenneth Taylor to a red card. And they've now taken off one of their creative influences.
Yeah. And Glock was the one that was joining Weghorst. He was the one that was trying, and he was the one that, if you, and I know you do, Dave, made that run from deep that burst the lines, that got him beyond Weghorst. Well, that evening's work for the rest of this game should be over. You should get no runners from midfield bursting between our two, and he's gone with the more defensive-minded midfielders, and they're still the shape. It's almost a hybrid of a 4-4-1 or 4-3-1, 4-3-2. Sorry, we need now, Dave, to get this game by the scruff of the neck. It's been a bit of a strange team. We've not seen this team before. Isolate, as we've just seen, Gittins with the fullback.
Gittins attacking down the left now for Chelsea, trying to get right to the Bayern. He's done so. Great play by Gittins, fires it across. It comes off an Ajax defender and goes out for a corner kick.
Well, there you go. They cannot double up or triple up, as we said in the opening 15 minutes of this game. Gittins gets a little bit of space. He's up against Rosa. Goes past him with ease. He can't bring him down. He's in the box. He opts for a shot. Corner's taken.
Taken quickly by and gets to Esteban, finding Castelo, who tries from long range on the edge of the area. That one pings wide of the
Why is he
left-hand
shooting
post.
there? He never scores from there. Of course he does. I understand. It's Casado's range. I'm joking. It's Casado's range.
I think this is an interesting tactical move, because if it was 0-0, I could almost understand it. But the fact that they have gone 1-0 down means that it feels rather defensive. And I think that's what the.
I can't help but think, and I agree with you. If I was writing that, I would be saying to my team, with the current team that it was, get to half-time, be horrible, almost play a 4-5. And then make the change. Sloppy ball from Fofana giving away there. They're the sort of little balls. 11v11 could get punished. Enzo on the left-hand side.
Big break on here. 6 against 5 at the moment as Chelsea come forward with Enzo Fernandez. Loads of space over on the right-hand side for Esteban to run into. Esteban has it right corner of the penalty. Cuts inside now. Esteban's shot takes a ricochet and takes a deflection and swings out towards the far side, where a free kick is given against Buonanotte, and Ajax get a free kick.
Well, I didn't see a foul there. The assistant on the right-hand side gives it. Lovely breakaway. That's the problem they've got. Oh, actually, do you know what he does? It's a silly. He grabs across his chest and gets enough, and you can see the badge stretch across the top of his chest there. It's an easy decision. And as I said there in Champions League, they don't need to see too much of that. By the way, it's raining here in West London. It's been raining pretty much since the beginning of the game, in fact before the game started, which makes a greasy surface. Put those balls in behind now if you can. Bit of space again.
Space for Chelsea to move forward, and Buonanotte towards the left, and Gittins moving down the left and cutting in field now. Gittins lays it square, and there is space here for Caicedo being urged to shoot. He does shoot, deflection, goal! Chelsea are 2-up. Caicedo shoots from long range, takes a deflection, beats the keeper, and that's 2 goals inside the first half hour here at Stamford Bridge. Chelsea in full control against the 10 men of Ajax. Caicedo strike, took a deflection and goes in. It's Chelsea 2, Ajax 0.
Well, John Durley, why is he shooting for there? Because he doesn't score. I was joking. When he shot, takes the deflection, a wicked deflection. Brilliant play down the left-hand side. Gittins, they managed to double up. He cuts inside. Casado's in acres of space, about 10 yards outside the box on the right-hand side. He's in the right-back area, has one touch, gets his head up, laces it, takes the deflection. 2-0 Chelsea. Well on our way now to a comfortable victory.
Caicedo striking it firm and true, but the deflection actually takes it completely opposite side of the goalkeeper to put Chelsea into a 2-0 lead. When he looks out, I think it's Talo who's taken the deflection, and it just sends the goalkeeper completely the wrong way. And for Chelsea, very, very satisfying indeed. 27 minutes played, 2-0 up, and pretty much job done, you would say.
Yeah, listen, I said the next I'll get it early. Listen, we still got backs in this first half. Now, I'm a greedy man, Dave, as you well know. I want the third. It takes two deflections.
Yeah, double deflection.
It takes a double deflection. I want the third before half-time. And then I want the fourth before half-time. Because this game already now feels over, all right? Well, tell you what, make it over. Make it over before half-time. Not at 90. I don't want to. I tell you what, I'll be very disappointed if we're rounding up our assessment of this game, and we're sitting there talking about a 2-0 game. I'll be very, very disappointed.
There's definitely more here for Chelsea, and much more as well. Esteban coming down the right at the moment with the space to run into, in fact to lay it back here for Tosin, who's above the halfway line now, plays it short to Lavia. Lavia finding Hato towards the left, and Gittins, who was certainly involved in that second goal, very much involved.
Sharp Gittins actually, yeah. Dave. You know, he's had some good moments, and largely it's been quite tricky for him. Space, it's amazing the width of the pitch now, how hard it is for them to cover those areas.
Fernandez finding Gittins, but across him, flick towards the far post. Mark Gear was there, Esteban can't quite turn and shoot, he's still got the ball though, back to goal, turns again, lays it back to the edge of the area, chipped in by Caicedo. Fernandez was there, so was Mark Gear. It's still bouncing around the Ajax penalty area, they can't get it clear at the moment.
No, this is brilliant from Chelsea, really forcing it, punish them, every opportunity, punish them. Put your foot in the throat and do as much damage as you can.
Lavia finding Gittins to raid in from the left now against an Ajax side who are certainly low on confidence based on recent form and results, and down to 10 and 2-0 down, and Gittins goes charging through now. Fernandez gets it on the edge of the area, chips it into the area looking for Giu to head towards goal, and it goes straight through in the end to pass Vera in the
I can only
Ajax
imagine,
goal.
Dave, what it must be like in this Ajax team right now. It has been, they've had one moment going forward. Since then, and since the red card, before the red card, of course, Chelsea have been the better side. But since the red card, 2 goals, we've got to really make sure we punish them now. Because goal difference, right? I've looked at the league table. Our goal difference, we got beat 3-1, of course, that first game against Bayern Munich. Only the 1-0 against Benfica. Goals count. Goals really, really count.
Lavia's given it away, and Weghorst plays a little give and go there with Morrow, and Weghorst plays it to Morrow once again down the right. Chelsea have got 4 or 5 back defending, but Raul Morrow tries to run into the area, tries to reverse it back to Weghorst, and the referee is not happy with what's gone there. He's given a penalty. He's given a penalty to the referee, and a yellow card for Tosin, and that was Morrow blasting into the area, trying to find Weghorst, and the challenge came in, and the referee gives a spot kick, and that's come out of absolutely nowhere.
I have to say, I did not see this. I'll have to see it again. Joe, he does catch him. I have to be honest, he catches him. He does catch him.
Like you, I'd followed the ball towards Weghorst, but he actually Tosin puts his foot onto the foot of Morrow, who goes down way after he tried to play it through to Weghorst, but it's a penalty. That is not being overturned, and out of nowhere,
we give the ball away, Dave, inside our half that led to that. And that's the disappointing part. Tosin is late to the challenge. He stamps on his foot. It's a penalty. There is no doubt about that whatsoever.
Well,
and we've given them a chance, and here's me spouting off about I want the third, and then seconds later we give them a route back in. It's so we make some we make some really. You know, I'm looking at the sending off from Gusto at the weekend. 2-0 up, trying to fish for a ball in the box where the challenge doesn't need to be made. Well, here we go then.
Well, Val Weghorst has scored 5 goals this season already. The 33-year-old striker, who's well known in English football for his spells with Burnley and Manchester United, now has the ball on the spot here at Stamford Bridge against Philip Jorgensen. He has had quite a long wait because Morrow was receiving treatment for a good minute or so. but the Ajax striker has the chance to put his side back in the game here, and you couldn't see that coming based on the previous 10 minutes of play. Weghorst against Jorgensen, away to our right-hand side. Here we go with the penalty for Ajax, right for the strike by Weghorst, finds the bottom corner. It rather goes through Jorgensen, who I think will feel he should have saved it, but it goes past him and in, and Ajax have a route back in through Weghorst's penalty. Chelsea 2, Ajax 1.
Should save it. He's gone the right way. Should save it, and I can tell by his disappointment. He's gone the right way. Has to get there. Well, I cannot believe on 32 and a half minutes that I'm watching the game here. Oh, he's got to save that. He's got to save that. I'm sorry. He's done the hard work going the right way. He's gone over the ball. Anyway, listen, up until that point, yeah, it's a mistake, and it's a rig. It all comes, I think it's Slavia that gives the ball away. I might be wrong, but we'll have to see it again. But can we carry on, get the next goal in this game now?
2-1, Slavia finding Esteval on the right for Chelsea. It's worked back to Tosin now. It certainly does give Ajax a foothold of sorts as Hato tries to blast forward, gets it back here from Lavia, has a left-footed strike which takes a deflection and might fall back to Lavia again. Lavia being manhandled by Weghorst, and the referee says play on as Caicedo works it back out towards the right now, and Esteval attacking towards the byline now. He's got there, he's trying to chip it across, falls over himself somewhat, still got the ball. In the end, Ajax doubling up, they're going to get it clear because back off Esteval and goes out for an Ajax corner, stays 2-1.
Yeah, still have a little bit of space over there. He stumbles and trips. Good play from Hato, by the way.
Referee's trying to sort something else out here because there's about 4 players crowding around him.
I think they want the free kick, Chelsea, and I get that. The free kick against Slavia. And the ball goes out to Esteval. They're waiting, I think, for the free kick. Give the free kick. Enzo's saying that. Here's the free kick decision. He gets him round. He pulls his hair.
Has got his arms around his head.
He pulls his hair. He's actually pulled his hair. Weghorst has pulled his hair. Now,
we've seen that punished by red cards in the past.
Do you know what? Because he's got him around the back of the neck, is there a combination of pulling around?
I mean, they might deem that as being sort of the act of trying to challenge, rather than a deliberate tug back like you've seen on Kukurea before.
I think you're right. But if he goes down, goes down there, Lavia.
It's not the smartest thing to do.
No, it's an ugly.
Especially for a team that are already down to 10.
I felt the referee should have given the free kick at the time. Yeah, we're going away from goal, Chelsea, and that's exactly what ends up. Anyway, nothing further. 34 and a half on the clock.
2-1, goal kick. Remco Pasveer for Ajax will launch this one forward up and over halfway, looking for Morrow, who won the penalty 2 or 3 minutes ago. Challenged by Hato, flicked forward by McConnell, up towards Weghorst, who goes crunching in there on Caicedo and concedes the free kick. Certainly putting himself around.
You haven't really seen much of Caicedo other than the goal. I know that sounds a weird thing to say, but we normally see him in the middle of the park controlling the game. He is coming centrally because he's that inverted fullback, and the 3 at the back is Fofana, Tosin and Hato. Space for Gittins. I think the width of the pitch is still going to be a key area.
Gittins has lost out this time to Rosa down the right for Ajax. Rosa gets it back from McConnell and plays it forward to Weghorst. Weghorst battling with Enzo Fernandez. Tight spot here on the halfway line, and Fernandez tussling with McConnell. They both hit the deck. Referee has stopped the play, given the set piece. I think it's just going to be thrown in fact to Ajax. 35 and a half played. 2-1 to Chelsea, and the throw-in will be taken by Lucas Rosa away on the right-hand side, just over halfway. In fact, he'll throw it back inside his own half, where Itakura's being challenged by Mark Guiu. Play back to the goalkeeper, who takes a slightly awkward touch. Guiu sliding in, trying to make the best of it. He got it out towards the right once again, and Itakura trying to spread the play towards the left. When you've got 10, that's not the best of balls, not the best of control either for Chelsea by Fofana. In the end, Lavia came in to deal with the situation, and Lavia will find Caicedo. Back to Lavia once more. Chelsea have regained control here.
Yeah, the game is it's gone a bit, as far as we're concerned, a bit scrappy since their equaliser.
Gittins now running against Rosa down the left, cuts inside him onto his right foot, pings across him beyond Guiu, and it bounces towards goal, and in the end it just falls into the arms of Pasveer. Well, it was in by Gittins, it went beyond Guiu, but Buonanotte was challenging for it, and in the end a combination of goalkeeper and defender managed to deal with it.
Yeah, lovely play. Gittins has actually had a very good first half. He's then backed up, Rosa has come across, and he cuts inside, he's forced inside, and he's obliged. Okay, you want to come inside? That's fine. He's probably about 15 yards outside the box deep. and he whips those ball in towards the edge of the 6-yard box, just over Mark Guiu's head. But Buonanotte, who's playing as a 10, arrives, and it ricochets somewhere between him and Staluto, I think it was, between the pair of them, and it manages to find its way to the keeper's arms. Gleefully, he picks it up. That could have been one of those that ricochets its way into the back of the net.
Got a stoppage now because Weghorst and Tosin have tangled in midfield, and Weghorst has picked him a knock to the head. There's certainly some blood flowing there as the physios come on the field of play. It was really the act of Tosin falling over.
Well, there's a lot of claret. He's going to need a stitch in this. Blood pouring down the left-hand side of his forehead.
Well, again, that's the last thing they want. He's their focal point to try and hit to get them away.
This will be patched up. You know, I don't see him coming off with this. It's at the moment it needs some serious attention. My guess is that he will have a stitch at half time. We're about.
Well, can he get through that to that point?
Well, we saw McAllister, didn't we, at the weekend? I don't know what Heitinga is talking to. I don't know, he's looking for.
I guess it depends on how long the referee's prepared to let it go with the physio dealing with the situation on the field of play. Whilst he's dealing with it on the field of play,
you can't put stitches.
They're okay, but yeah.
The referee's actually speaking and shaking his head. I don't know what and who he's speaking to. Is it Morrow?
I'm not sure what Morrow was asking for at that point. Weghorst still sat down on the field. Referee not showing any great urgency to want to get things back going. So they're going to put one of these. Well, at the moment they're trying to just stem the flow. So Weghorst now getting to his feet, and they will certainly hope that he can continue without any more issues. They've got other players missing as well, forward players missing. They've got Kasper Dolberg, the summer signing from Anderlecht. He's currently on the sideline. Steven Berghuis, the former Watford player, is also out, so they are short of options up front. The last thing they want is for Weghorst to be ruled out. He is looks like he's just about ready to come back on, to be fair. Some more work being done on him, though.
Yeah, there was a lot of claret. They managed to stem the blood flow.
But the game is back underway, and they're now down to 9 at the moment. Whilst he's ready to come back on, and he comes back on.
It's not 30 seconds.
That was about 3 seconds. Well, anyway.
How's that been allowed, by the way?
That's just extraordinary.
Is it officiated the same as the Premier League? Well, obviously not.
Well, anyway, they're back down. They're back up to 10, I should say, as Chelsea come forward midway inside the Ajax half, with Fofana finding Tosin, who clips it forward left-footed, trying to find Buonanotte, but that one's neither. Well, it's kind of betwixt and between, really, and it goes out straight out for a goal kick. No danger for Pasveer there.
Yeah, selection of pass there from Tosin. That's not the right call. Yeah, trying to find Buonanotte. They're quite deep as a unit. It's got to be a pass that is inch perfect, and also, if you're looking for his head, Buonanotte, not the biggest lad in the world. I'd have kept the ball moving left to right.
40 minutes on the clock, 2-1 in favour of Chelsea. A flurry of action really around the 20-minute mark, with Ajax reduced to 10 men, with Kenneth Taylor sent off. 2 quick-fire Chelsea goals followed from Mark Guiu, and a deflected strike by Caicedo, but a penalty back from Wout Weghorst put Ajax back in the game, and Weghorst has gone down again now, and they have a free kick.
Yeah, Fofana is complaining. I didn't see a foul in that. Fofana leaps ahead of Weghorst. I don't know where the foul is here. I don't know where the foul is. You have to show me the foul there. I've got no idea where the foul is. However, and these are these little moments, if you're down to 10 men in open play, it's hard to create a chance. They managed to get an opening with a penalty. They've got a set piece. There's 41, I do apologise, on the clock. And this is one of these little moments. It's gone very quiet at Stamford Bridge. If this delivery, it's a high line. Chelsea, well, a good 7 or 8 yards outside the box.
Mika Götze with the free kick, right footed in towards the back post. That must be offside, surely, against Sotalo. And the flag now does go up.
Yeah, held the line well. It's a good line. It's a brave line, because you're so high, you're leaving a lot of grass in behind, and you're fearful that if the run is right, there's enough space between the runner and the keeper. Hold the line well, strays offside. And this game it's been a very odd first half, Dave. There's been so many little mini stories in it, but it's for them to get themselves back. It's kind of thrown us a little bit, it feels.
Caicedo tries the ball out towards the right and gets it there with Esteban. He's got Buonanotte in support. Esteban goes beyond him, left-footed, clipped in, and just goes beyond the far post again. Gittins couldn't quite latch onto a attempted Fernandes flick and goes out for a goal kick.
Yeah, Fernandes is the one that's been made, and Esteban, he's 7 or 8, well, 12, 13 yards outside their box on the right-hand side. It's actually not the worst ball in there at all. And because they don't have that American advantage, there's space in the box. Well, he strayed in there, Enzo, and Gittins was out further wide on that left-hand side. I think Enzo will be very disappointed, Maresca that is, about how the game has gone since we've gone 2-0 up. I think he'll feel that we've not only allowed them back into it, but our reaction to their penalty, I think they just seem a little bit too comfortable for my liking, Dave.
Well, it is 2-1, and there's a long way to go, and only one goal in it. Chelsea trying to press, but Mocchio brings it clear for Ajax. Work back towards the right once again, and Itakura finds the goalkeeper who clears straight at Gittins, and Gittins couldn't quite take it in his stride, and they just about get away with that one.
Yeah, tough, because the goalkeeper clears it, scuffs his clearance, and falls to Gittins, bounces just in front of him, and in doing so, it's hard skill that just to bring it under your spell. Bit of space for Gittins now, though.
Buonanotte picks out Gittins' space down the left for Chelsea. Up against Mocchio, but flicks it through to Enzo Fernandez, who's brought down. Surely penalty, definite penalty. Enzo Fernandez is taken down in the penalty area, and that's a clear penalty. And Chelsea with a chance to extend their lead back to 2 goals.
Well, he's saying he gets the ball. There's no doubt about it, he gets the ball. But as he comes through him first, I think you're right, Dave. I think he does. He's gone to ground. As soon as you go to ground in the box, you've got to win the ball, and you can't take any man. When he gets the ball, of no mistake, gets on the right left hand, plays it in. Oh, it's a penalty.
It's a clear penalty.
Oh, God.
It's taken him with both legs.
Not only to get the ball, he gets both of Enzo's legs.
He's gone through the card then, really.
He has. But when you look at the ball, he gets the ball. But you're absolutely right. He goes through man, both legs, gets the ball. Well, here we go.
Well, Veghorst has bounced it up now. He scored from the spot at 1, and now he's tracking back defending.
Do you know
and
what,
concedes
Dave?
another one.
Do you know what, right? Score this, because it would have been a very, very strange first half if we only went in at 2-1 up.
Chelsea penalty in the last minute of the 45 in the first half. Enzo Fernandez has the ball on the spot up against Pasveer. Referee gets the players outside the penalty area, and Chelsea with a big chance here on the stroke of half time. Enzo Fernandez scores, and Chelsea have rebuilt their 2-goal advantage. Enzo from the spot, right footed past Pasveer. Chelsea 3, Ajax 1.
Brilliant penalty into the side netting. Doesn't bounce. Hits the side netting with some pace. Veghorst looks to the skies. As soon as you go to ground, I'll say this, Dave, and it is a truism. It's a striker's challenge. He's gone to ground. I think he's fearing the cross, and I think his decision making is based on that. Anyway, Enzo picks himself up. It's a lovely penalty. Hit with so much pace. Pasveer goes the right way, kind of, guesses a little bit. Well, this does reflect more of the first half, the scoreline now, than the game we've seen. And it was a very strange game once they got themselves back in at 2-1, I have to say. But that does restore the game I have seen.
It has been a eventful half hour or so since Kenneth Taylor was sent off. We've seen 4 goals, we've seen penalties at both ends. We've seen Wout Weghorst score a penalty and then concede one, and we're now into first half stoppage time, of which we will have 5 minutes. That's no surprise. Another dreadful field for the goalkeeper, and he's so lucky it bounces back off Buonanotte.
Well, his clearances have been poor, and in actual fact, it wasn't the actual passage of play which led to the goal, but it was part of it, where Gittins, if you remember, couldn't quite bring it under. He's drilled it again, low and hard. It's a poor clearance. This time it was Buonanotte that couldn't quite control it because of the pace of the ball. Plays the ball out again.
Chelsea pressing strongly, but they may have broken it here with McConnell trying to run past Enzo Fernandez. McConnell out towards the right for Ajax. It's Morrow now who won their penalty some time ago now. Played back to Rosa, and Rosa back to Itakura, all the way back to goalkeeper Pasveer, 41 years of age, and he plays out towards the left where it's whacked forward by Bass, and Bass tries to find Wout Weghorst. Weghorst up against Fofana, and again he gets the free kick. free kick for Ajax away on that far left-hand side. Fofane's actually taken a clout himself in the act of conceding a free kick there. There's no doubt that Wout Weghorst puts himself around.
Yeah.
A big unit that he is. And looks like Fofana is going to be okay. He's kind of kneeled up there. But it will be a free kick here on the left.
Yeah, Fofana's... He's definitely caught him in the side of the face. It's an accidental collision for me. Not sure it's a free kick, but they've got it.
3-1 in first half stoppage time. And the last thing Chelsea want here is to see that 2-goal lead whittled back as it was with the Weghorst penalty just after the half hour. Free kick this time, which Mika Götze will take. Now, the last time they had one from this sort of range, they were found offside at the far post. So Chelsea, I'm sure, will try and hold that line once again. All outside the area now. The free kick is picked in towards the edge of the area, where there's a foul in the D on Enzo Fernandez. So again, a total waste of Ajax.
Total waste of time, I have to say. My eyes were following the ball, Dave. I'm guessing yours was too.
Again, towards the far post, but
Indeed.
I saw Enzo go down.
Yeah, he went down. The referee spotted it. Well, we're just 2 minutes away from half-time. Enzo will be pleased. Probably very pleased, of course, with the scoreline. There, you know, he would have looked for us to have kicked on at 2-0 down to 10 men, be a bit more convincing. It's not been that way. However, the next 45 minutes offers so much opportunity with Chelsea for us to get that goal difference up. Move the ball quickly. It's a bit stationary at the moment.
Caicedo in the centre circle, loads of space again for the wide players, but it's very central. Fernandez with a short piece of one-touch play with Lavia. Back to Caicedo once more. Now Fernandez, first time ball spun forward to Guiu to hold the ball up. Guiu back to Lavia. Lavia finds Esteval on the right. Good play here from Chelsea. Esteval's in the penalty area. He goes down but quickly back on his feet now. Diamonds again. Penalty again. Penalty just inside the box, and Chelsea have another spot kick.
Honestly, it looks like Esteban's lost the ball, and he has, but he gets up, and in getting up, he gets dragged down. It looks like studs down the back of his Achilles. Who's the protagonist this time? I think it's Bass. Johnny Eitinger's going to come across. He does go to ground. And then he goes to ground. Oh my God, it's a penalty all day long.
It's not being overturned, that.
No chance. No chance. No chance. He gets up so quickly. Now, if you give it that end, you've got to give this 100% a penalty, no doubt about it. So, Esteval has got the ball this time, not Enzo.
Interesting. Change of penalty take-up. Esteval on the spot now. Very straight-looking run up it would appear. Up against Pasveer.
He'll bend his run. He's going to bend it a little bit like Ronaldo does, I'm sure.
There's going to be a yellow card here for Weghorst, who's been involved in everything in this first half. Trying to do the spot kick. In first half stoppage time, Chelsea with their second penalty of the game. And Esteval about to step up now. Now he does bend that run to strike it left-footed. Here he comes now. Esteval with the penalty. Oh, what a penalty as well in the top corner. And Chelsea have 4 goals in the first half, and they are running right here at the bridge. Esteval finds the top corner. Chelsea 4, Ajax 1.
Well, this really does reflect the way the first half has gone. Maybe slightly flatters us, if I'm being honest. Slightly. What a brilliant penalty. He runs at it straight on his left foot. He goes round to his right side. He curves his run, and as he approaches, has that little stutter. Looks Pasveer in the eyes. Which way are you going to go? Then he quickens his stride. Left foot plants it to the goalkeeper's right. The keeper dives to his left. Beautifully executed. 4-1, and this now is a comfortable evening's work. I have to say, Dave, you spoke to me 10 minutes ago, mate. I would not have said I've been looking at this. What does the second half hold? Because we're 4-1 now. We're seconds away from half-time. Well,
that is half-time.
A second, Dave. I got that wrong.
It's 4-1 at the break. Chelsea's biggest home wins in the Champions League are 6-0 wins against Maribor and Qarabag in 2014 and 2017. The way it's going, they could very much head that way. They've not kept the clean sheet, of course, but they've scored 4 goals, so there could be more to come. The goals for Chelsea after the red card given to Kenneth Taylor on 15 minutes. Mark Guiu putting the Blues in front on 18. Caicedo's deflected strike made it 2. A Weghorst penalty gave Ajax some hope, but 2 Chelsea penalties penalties, one right on 45 and one on 45 plus 6, one from Enzo Fernandez and one from Esteban, meaning that the half-time score here after a hugely eventful first half is Chelsea 4, Ajax 1.
Yeah, what this does also, it justifies Enzo Maresca's team selection, and that he would have wrestled. There's so many decisions that he can and could, and fans will say should have made. Well, look, there's been a bit of good fortune, no question, but what you can't doubt, he's got it right. Jorgensen in goal, Sanchez gets a day off, Casado at right back. Well, wouldn't surprise me if he is one of those players that is taken off midway through that first half. You're also looking at the bench, who needs minutes, who doesn't. Reece James, keep him out of the game, keep him on the bench. Pedro Neto, keep him on the bench. We might see Santos, Cucurella, keep him out of there. Garnacho may come on. You know, there might be that little bit to maybe give. Gittins needs minutes, I wouldn't do that. Esteval might be that
George.
one. So we know that João Pedro is going to probably start. Maybe I say that because what we've seen from Mark Guéhi since he came off the bench at half-time, he gives us a focal point. So he might be one. There's so much that must be going through. Not right here, right now, but between now and the 60th and 75th minute, I expect Enzo to make changes. If we get the next goal, just another, not a bit like us. 4-1's a nice breathing space, and they're down to 10 men. You may see Tariq George, wouldn't surprise me. Walsh is on the bench. Kavuma McQueen is on the bench. There's Josh Etchimpong, does he start against her? There's all of this that's going. Whatever team Enzo has in his mind for Saturday, you'll see changes reflecting that.
Quite a bizarre game. Yeah. Certainly there's no doubt the red card changed it, and the fact that Chelsea scored straight after the red card
100%.
was a huge moment. And then just when you thought they'd thrown the initiative away, I mean, you can't legislate for those two challenges. Well, at either end, really.
All three challenges needlessly made, and you go to ground in the box. In actual fact, Bass was the one that he actually doesn't go to ground. I think Esteval's just a little bit too quick, a little bit too sharp. I don't think he expects him to get back on his feet as quick as he does, in all honesty. But the scoreline now, as I said a second ago, reflects the game I've seen. Maybe slightly generous. Sam Parkin, former Chelsea player and very much part of the Chelsea TV team, has joined in the gantry. Sam, thoughts on that first half, please?
We've had much better games, but I don't think we've had too many more enjoyable. It's been fun. I mean, it's over as a contest, really, isn't it? I mean, even 11v11, they didn't look much cop, and it looked like it could be a frustrating night for the opening 5-10 minutes. And then just, I was going to say a moment of madness. There's no malice in the red card, the challenge, and watching it live, I thought it was probably going to be a yellow. The first angle, you think it's going to be a yellow, and then when you see it slow down, you see the second and third angles, it's a red card every day of the week in the modern game. So you can't have any complaints. There was very little complaints, and then I think it was from the subsequent free kick that the opening goal goes in. So a desperate minute or so for Ajax, and it looked like it was just going to be a question of how many, and then the referee's taken centre stage. But again, in terms of like where we are in the modern game, I don't know about you, Jace, but I don't like the awards for the Tosin one and the second Ajax penalty they've given away. But in this era that we're in now, I think they get given 9 times out of 10. There's no complaints, I think, from either side.
No, and if you don't get the ball and you make a challenge in particular, I've got to be honest, I think they're probably pens in the Premier League. I don't think the red card is. Right. Sam, I feel that in the Premier League, I think they probably go with on-field. It's right on the cusp of, and I said to Dave, 3 or 4 more inches higher, it's a red. And then I said to before the ball was kicked, you watch this game be officiated different to the Premier League. In the Champions League, handballs in particular, but those challenges, they won't stand for that. And do you know what? It's a bad tackle.
Yeah,
it's a bad tackle, that.
The height of it is what kind of flashed through my mind.
It goes over the ball, Sam.
Yeah, but the height of the... Is it low enough for it to be sanctioned just as a yellow card? That was what went through my mind. And I mean, he went over and he didn't even look at the action, did he? He looked at the still, which I don't think I've ever seen before. Have you?
He was over there. I was still talking, and I spoke to Dave before I even turned my head back round. He was running back on the pitch.
Yeah.
And I think maybe I think we have to accept that the games are officiated differently in Europe than they are in England. Right?
Do you think? I mean, the Weghorst one. I mean, he's saying he touched the ball. It's Enzo Fernandez. His foot touches the ball.
He goes through.
Yeah.
He goes through him to get the ball.
Yeah.
I mean, the ball moves. There's no doubt he gets the ball, but Enzo Fernandez's foot comes through. I think on reflection, they're all penalties. I think in the Premier League, the red card you could. But don't forget them. I want to talk about Chelsea performance. Enzo Maresca before the game rolled the dice. His team selection was thinking, in my opinion, about Sunderland and about Spurs. In between that's Wolves. And do you know what? He's got it right. He's fortunate that they've gone down to 10 men, because the decision making that he's made has justified him playing the likes of Yorton, resting Reece. Because I'm thinking now, Sam, who finishes the game? Now, get the next goal. Now you can start really thinking about the next 3 games.
It's perfect in that regard. The job's going to be done in terms of the points. We've also seen probably Jamie Gittins' his best half by an absolute country mile. I think he's been first class in that first half, and it gives the manager the luxury of rolling the dice a little bit earlier. Jason's going to go and have a break now, and Dave is going to rejoin me here at the back of the East Upper. I mean, it's in terms of the scoreline, couldn't have gone any better. Bizarre half. I was just touching on the Gittins performance. I think that's been as good as he's been. Really positive. Guiu, another player to highlight, got a goal. He'll be sitting in there now thinking, if I can remain on the pitch for 20-25 minutes, I could get myself a Champions League hat-trick there. So the mindset shifts with the dismissal of obviously the Ajax player and the scoreline now. It should be a canter, and Enzo Maresca is going to have a great opportunity of potentially getting some minutes into some other players.
Yeah, talk about squad management, and that was the talk before the game about the team selection in the first place, and it was a calculated gamble, no doubt, with Jason was talking about obviously Sunderland, which is a much bigger game than you might have thought 2 or 3 months ago with how they've started, with Spurs coming up as well, with a Qarabag Cup tie next midweek. It is about squad management. He's made 10 changes. It's worked because he's got himself goals on the board, and now he's got the luxury of potentially taking more off. I don't know if you take more off now or you take more off on the hour, but certainly you have a game in the bag, unless something totally mad happens. Don't forget when they were here last time 6 years ago, Chelsea came back from 4-1 down and it finished 4-4.
Yeah, I mean, the 2 goals in the tail end of the first half from penalties just changed the complexion completely. Had they gone in at 2-1, I mean, Enzo Maresca will be very well versed in what Ajax can do, because he'll have watched the last 4-5 games of Ajax every minute and know, their patterns of play and their threats like the back of his own hand. So at 2-1, there probably would have been a little seed of doubt. At 4-1, that vanishes, and I think he can afford to be a little bit more flexible, probably here at half-time. So we may very well see the introduction of 1 or possibly 2, and certainly, an hour in tonight, we'll see the full complement of substitutes into the action, because they've given themselves that platform now, and the ability to be able to hopefully, for the latter stages of tonight's game, relax and to a certain degree start thinking about the weekend.
Tell us what it's like. You must have been in a situation yourself where your team's gone down to 10 men very early in the game, and particularly from the point of view of someone like Weghorst, who is their focal point, if you like, the one they're desperately trying to hit. He's here, there, everywhere. He's winning penalties, he's conceding penalties, he's getting a knock on the head. But what is it like when you're playing almost an entire game one short against a good side? It must be difficult, really difficult.
Yeah, horrible, because in terms of the intensity that you play at, you're going to be very, very fatigued slightly earlier than you would do in a normal 90-minute game with a full complement. You're going to have to defend remarkably well. You're going to have to be reliant on a little bit of luck. I think it actually affords the front players in this type of scenario a little bit more freedom, where you can probably take 1 or 2 more touches in the final third, be a little bit more inventive, try and get some runs and get 1v1 up against people. But yeah, that has all kind of diminished now because the goals have rained into their net, excuse the pun, in the last 20 minutes or so. So the game is pretty much over as a contest. They're going to have to just try and keep the score down. That's the reality now, because, you know, a 3-goal cushion with the luxury of bringing on some big hitters maybe for a few minutes later on, the task could get, well, it is going to get harder for Ajax than easier.
And for Chelsea, is it simply patience? Is it a case that if you just keep knocking the ball around, chances will come? I mean, we've seen, obviously, they've forced mistakes and penalties have been given, but I guess as the away side get more and more tired and, again, more mistakes creep in, then chances will naturally come.
Yeah, keep putting the ball in. That, you know, that's something I think I've garnered from that first half as well. They're not comfortable, the ball going into their 18-yard box. Even those flat deliveries that Gittins and Estevao have put in have been problematic for the Ajax back line. So keep putting the ball in, keep feeding the forward players. Yeah, and I think this could be a really productive night. Also, and this is a bit of a rarity, I said it during the TV commentary, you know, in these amazing stadiums in the Premier League, when the pitches are carpets, the rain that we've seen here is having an effect. It had an effect certainly on the Weghorst challenge, as rash as it was. He went in, but you know, he slid. There was water. It kind of gathered momentum, didn't it, his challenge, because of the conditions. There was a stray pass from the goalkeeper as well. This is a defender and a goalkeeper's nightmare now, and it's not subsiding, the rain. I think Chelsea are going to see the ball presented to them. I think there's going to be mistakes in Ajax's back line. I think the forward players could have a field day, and this could be anything in the second half.
Certainly with Weghorst, he ended up taking everything out along the way as he got the ball, both legs, and so on. So it was, yeah, it was quite the challenge. The penalty was given. Sam, thanks for that, and we'll see you no doubt shortly. You'll be back to TV in a moment. We're about to get the half-time interval complete in just a moment, because we played 5 minutes of the first half stoppage time with that late Chelsea penalty, or in fact 2 of them on the brink of the break. So the second half is on the way very shortly, where it's Chelsea 4, Ajax 1.
There are 1 or 2 players warming up in front of us. There will inevitably be changes, no doubt about that. Just wonder what Maresca is thinking now. And it has been a feature. I said to you, Dave, before I was kicked, I was speaking to friends of mine before the game about the team selection, and 1 or 2 of them are a bit concerned, and understandably so. This is a game you can't take lightly. It's a Champions League game, but if there is a risk, and sometimes you've got to look at the opposition and take a little bit of a calculated risk, and that's what it has been, and it's turned out to be the right call. Yeah, there's been a bit of good fortune, but even before the red card, you know, it did look as though we had too much for them. But that red card, the red card and our first goal from Guiu was enough for the game to be swung firmly in Chelsea's favour, even though we went 2-0 up. There's a little bit of doubt and a little bit of a weird feeling, the fact they got themselves back into it. However, those 2 goals just before half-time have sealed the game, you would have thought. I don't want to... from what I've seen, this game's over. But I hesitate to say that it's over, because I've seen enough football throughout my years, and you have, Dave, as well, that you don't want to be too cocky. Just looking now, there are going to be 3 changes, and this allows Maresca, that calculated risk has paid off. He has now got his eyes firmly on Sunderland, firmly on Spurs, and without a doubt on Wolves. So that team will probably pick itself.
So Weghorst is coming off for Ajax, and David Klaassen, the former Everton player, 32 years of age now, is coming on. So Weghorst going off would suggest that also they feel the game is up in an attacking sense. And here come the Chelsea changes. So coming on, we're going to see Andre Santos, Tyreek George and Trevor Chalobah. Enzo is going off, replaced by Andre Santos. And Tosin has gone off. So Chalobah is on.
Moises Caicedo still on.
And was it Guiu that came off?
Guiu is off.
Guiu was off. Well, there's a message there, isn't it, for the weekend?
Well, that tells me he starts against Sunderland.
Yeah.
Gets his goal, has done enough in that second half performance against Nottingham Forest, and done enough in his first half performance against Ajax. And that's what opportunity knocks. So you can pretty much name Chelsea's front two. In behind Mark Guiu is going to be João Pedro. That's how it feels right now. Anyway, the game has kicked off.
Yep, second half is underway. Chelsea attacking from left to right with those changes made. And let's see if they can resume the domination they had. Certainly playing against 10, there's no reason why they shouldn't. They have the ball with Fofana in the centre circle. So that one change with Chalobah at the back, the one change in the back line, but two further forward as well, with Andre Santos coming on and Tyreek George coming on. Here's Lavia working out towards the right, and Esteval to come in from the right-hand side early in this second half. He's going to the byline now. Esteval's got to the byline, pulls it across. A keeper fumbles it and grabs it on the second attempt.
When he goes to the right-hand side, tell you what I love about Esteval, he's got that ability. Pedro Neto does it as well when he's on. You think he's going to do something with it, he doesn't. He has another touch, and there's another touch, and the touch is so delicate, it doesn't knock it out of play. He keeps the ball under his spell, and he gets the byline. In the end, the cross is not sufficient pace or power. It should be gathered by the keeper, Pasveer, and it is at the second attempt, by the way, which was not a difficult cross to deal with.
Lavia knocking it forward, but to no one in particular. Works through to Pasveer once again. Just looking at the way that Ajax have changed with David Klaassen coming on for Wout Weghorst. There at the moment they kind of got two up front, but I can't believe that'll be the case when Chelsea have the ball. It's played forward down the left-hand side, in fact played straight out of play by Yuri Basto, and Chelsea will throw deep in Ajax territory down the right. Currently got two balls in the field of play, so referee just holds things up whilst that is sorted out. Now the throw-in comes in down the right-hand side. Fofana has it for Chelsea midway inside the Ajax half.
Yeah, there's obviously more goals in this game. I want to see 5, and I want to see 6. And I'm greedy, David. Well, why not?
Well, why not? Yeah.
Because these are the type of games that you don't want to look back on. You know, going away to Napoli, last group game, thinking a goal difference isn't sufficient. You know, this is one of these moments. Capitalise.
In comes a challenge by Mika Götze, who is the furthest man forward for Ajax, but Caicedo comes in to deal with that situation. Lavia playing it through. Lovely ball by Lavia. Santos just about charged down. Tyreek George with the shot, and Tyreek George with the goal. And Chelsea hit the high fives in this second half of the bridge. Tyreek George off the bench, and within 3 minutes, he stamps Chelsea into a 5-1 lead. Chelsea 5, Ajax 1.
Well, I just talked about goal difference. Tyreek George, Moises Caicedo plays the ball into Lavia. It's a ball down the middle, and it gets defended pretty well, but Tyreek George walks onto it. I think it might take another deflection, Dave. I'll have to see this again, but they are absolutely crestfallen, Ajax. Heidegger would have said, do not do anything stupid. We've made the change. Keep this down as much as we can. Who makes the run through? In the end, Tyreek, it does. It takes another deflection. Takes a wicked deflection. It was Santos that makes the run through the middle. I don't know whether this is going on target, I can't tell. But the ball is defended as well as they can. They're scrabbling back, edge the box. Tyreek George, side foot, takes another wicked deflection, goes past the hapless Pasveer. Tyreek George gets his first Champions League goal. I remember his first goal in the Conference League. And now that substitution of Moises Caicedo can now be made. I was surprised it came out. That's the 5th goal. There's the concern from Maresca. You want to make sure, it's amazing really, even at 4-1 up down 10 men, you still want, Caicedo comes on, right decision. Josh Achimpong comes in at right back, who, by the way, what a player this young kid is.
5-1 to Chelsea as Ajax tried to come forward and try and capitalise on Chelsea reorganising. Klaassen driving forward now, working out towards the right-hand side. Space here if they can get a cross in. Klaassen coming to offer support, but the ball is just backward of him. They retrieve and knock it through. And Mocchio couldn't quite make much of it. They might still get a cross in from the right-hand side here, and that's headed down by Fofana and away. There's certainly more in this game for Chelsea in a goal-scoring sense. 5-1 with still 40 minutes to play.
By the way, Chalobah's got the armband. The youth, another youth academy product has got the armband.
Achampong finding Fofana, and he will come forward towards halfway. Worked out to Achampong again. Space over on the right-hand side for Esteval. And Esteval attacking down the right. Infield it goes.
I think, Dave, every player out there will feel there's a goal in this game for them. It's one of those games now. There is so much left of this. You know.
And Chelsea attacking again down the left-hand side. Lavia gets it on the edge of the area. Lavia's shot goes just wide of the right-hand post. Look at deflection all the way and goes out for a Chelsea corner.
Well, that's the point I was making. Every player there feels there's a goal in this game. Because they have gone. Ajax have gone now. This is going to be. I've played in games both at a side that is comfortably winning with the numeric advantage, and also playing the game where we're getting beat and we have that numeric advantage again. It's horrible being on the other side. It's horrible. You're looking at the clock the whole time.
Short corner worked out towards the left for Chelsea. Here's Gittins poking it towards the left once again. And Chelsea with Esteval is over there having taken the corner, is trying to get a cross in. But I think he's found his man down on that far side. McConnell back there defending, and it has been a foul given against Esteval. Stays at 5-1.
The thing I love about Esteval, right, is that when I first saw him and we'd signed him, I looked at a lot of his videos. I'm looking at it thinking, he's not the biggest lad in the world. His game, obviously, the technical and the natural ability is not doubted. But you think Premier League, is he going to be able to cope with it? Well, let me tell you now. Those concerns of mine were laid to rest in the first game I saw him. He was smashing Mateta. He ran all the way back towards the shed end and jumped Mateta. Pierre Mateta. He gave a free kick away in the end, but that told me, right, you're up for this physical challenge. And the reason I'm saying what I'm saying, he's given a free kick over there, but it's the robustness. He's happy to put himself in those areas. It's a silly free kick to give away, but I like the fact that even as slight as he is, the physicality of the game does not worry him.
7 played in the second half. 5-1 to Chelsea, who are in possession once again with Achampong just over halfway down the right. Esteval is on this right-hand touchline now, looking to come in field.
Yeah, they can't get to the white men quick enough now because their back four, they're slightly more narrow than they were in the first half because they don't have that extra man that can drop into the back four, and the midfield is working potentially as high as a poor ball. That
loose ball by Chalobah, allowing Ajax to break away down their right, and McConnell is making progress down that right-hand side. Work back to Rosa, and in comes Tyreek George to try and win it back. George and Lavia combining, forcing Ajax back into their own half of the field. Itakura will try and spray it forward. Bass coming in from left back, trying to run between Benanote and Achampong, couldn't do so, and now Esteval comes away with it for Chelsea down the right. He's jinking infield, jinking outfield, now gets towards the right edge of the area. A roar goes up amongst the crowd as he turns inside once again. That was perhaps one turn too many, and it was in
maybe got a bit carried away on that particular occasion. The crowd, he's certainly young Chelsea, my young boy, loves Esteval. He's got that, he's captured the imagination of we've had one or two of those players throughout the years. The first I can think of, they got you out. I mean, go back as far as Charlie Cook, right? So but you go back before that, Jimmy Greaves, more recently Gianfranco Zola, Eden Hazard, that type of player.
And here he is again, Esteval down the right, coming in field, lays it short, played back towards halfway. I think the second half will see Chelsea have all the possession they want. I don't think Ajax will have too much at all, and they'll be interested in just trying to keep it as close as they can, as close as you can when it's already 5-1. It's laid short by Fofana finding Chalobah.
It's fair to say
left.
I left Pat Nevin off that list as well. So yes, just an honorary mention. You know, I'm just thinking of those players that you know, ball at their feet, taking players on in tight areas. Here he is now.
Achampong forward towards Esteval once again, doubling up on him with the 10, getting close to him, trying to buffet him. It will be a Chelsea throw down the right from the
maybe
challenge.
Just needs to release it a little bit now. He's maybe a little bit of that inexperience there. When you drag two players across to your numeric advantage, if you've got two players closing you down, somewhere on that pitch, someone's going to have a lot of space.
Flick forward looking for Bonanotte, who can't quite get it the other side of the defender there. See the intent there from the ball flick through, but he couldn't quite get it round Sitalo.
No, through the middle. Lovely idea.
Ball back with Pasveer now.
Pasveer has come off his line. If Bonanotte had an inch and a half longer on his feet, he might well have got something on that, the towed it over the keeper.
Rain absolutely teeming down now at Stamford Bridge, and Chelsea teeming forward with Bonanotte. Just has to check back slightly. Lavia forward again to Esteval in a central position, trying to find Bonanotte. They're going central here, and in the end they can't quite bulldoze their way through, and that will be a foul and a yellow card potentially also as well here for Esteval, who was a bit late to trying to retrieve possession.
Yeah, maybe a bit of frustration there, Dave. He's central. But like I said, the point I was making, he's prepared to mix it up. Yeah, no doubt about that. Foul, yellow card, doesn't get the man, but he the kind of the scissors motion, if there is such a thing, whether you go with two kind of one straight leg and the other comes in behind.
56 played, 5-1 to Chelsea. Whilst we have this break in play, whilst treatment I think is possibly going to be required. In fact, the referee just trying to hold things slightly. John Heitingham was having a word with his young midfielder Mocchio, who's now come back onto the centre. The physio now does come on, and we see shots of the rain coming down. We are set for a day of rain according to the weather forecast, a storm coming in, but Chelsea, well, they have absolutely blown Ajax away in this game. A 5-1 scoreline, an unusual 5-1 in one sense, just the way the game progressed, and those two penalties late in the first half, and then straight after the break pretty much Tyreek George scoring number 5. That has gone down to Tyreek George, by the way. We saw the deflection, we wondered if it was on target, but it clearly was, so that's good news for him, and he gets his first Champions League goal. It looks like we're going to be good to continue in just a moment, because treatment's been given to Rosa, who was brought down by the challenge. Elsewhere involving the British clubs tonight, Liverpool lead 3-1 in Frankfurt. They've of course been on a pretty wretched run of late, and Spurs goalless in Monaco. The current scores involving the other British clubs, English clubs in the Champions League this evening. Free kick to Ajax. Pasveer will take it midway inside his own half. Wouldn't say they've launched bodies forward for this, but Chelsea back in a defensive shape in a kind of a 4-1-3-2 at the moment, as Pasveer gets it away towards the left-hand side. Looking for the flick on was Mocchio, and seen back comfortably enough for Chelsea by Fofana to Jorgensen, who's had nothing to do all night apart from try and save a penalty, really, and unfortunately it went under him.
I think he'll be disappointed on reflection. He's gone the right way. It was struck with some pace from Weghorst. Esteval seeing a lot of the ball in this last 10 minutes of this second half.
Forward by Achampong, finding Bonanotte, laid off by Tyreek George to Lavia. Lavia trying to play it back through to George. It might still find him. The flag has stayed down as George hooks it across towards the far post. The flag is still. Now it has gone up. A bit late today. I think you called it straight away there. He was just off.
He looked offside, and I understand why the assistant leaves the flag down, but I'd have said about 3 or 4 yards offside. He's a bit unlucky actually, because it kind of ricochets. George, you know what? Actually,
it might be half a yard if that. It's close.
I tell you what, it's closer than I thought. Anyway, free kick given. Doesn't matter because of the scoreline.
Mocchio away down the left for Ajax. Bit of a barge and a shove with Josh Achampong, and it goes away for an Ajax throw on this near side down the left. Well, the Ajax fans, they've travelled in their numbers, of course, away. To our left, but rather shell-shocked by what's happened as the ball was worked back to Pasveer in goal. Gets a connection onto the clearance, but only reaches the edge of the penalty area. Now gets it back. Chelsea pressing to try and force a mistake from the goalkeeper. Klassen tries to hold the ball up, but he lost out to Fofana, and now Ajax will bring it away down their left-hand side with Mocchio. Mocchio finding McConnell. McConnell twisting and turning and doing well to find some space there. Gets a shot from Achampong, but still has the ball here. James McConnell for Ajax down the left.
Well, actually, done really well.
Still got the ball and finally
really well.
draws the free kick from Achampong.
Does well down the left-hand side. He was going down a cul-de-sac, had to cut inside twice, and eventually realises there's very little in support. And he goes down and wins the free kick, reaching to his hamstrings. There's a little bit of cramp creeping in for McConnell. Free kick to Ajax, halfway inside our half on the left-hand side, right in front of the east stand. You've got bodies in there.
Going to be taken by Mocchio. In fact, gets it short from Klassen, and now Mocchio puts it in left-footed. It's a really poor one. It ricochets across, and Chelsea in the end to get it away with Hato fairly comfortably, away and up and over halfway. Work back to Pasveer in goal. 5-1, and perhaps the intensity has gone slightly since Chelsea got that 5th goal.
Yeah, it's always it's always very difficult to continue that same intensity, but there's another goal in this game, Dave. It may be 2, maybe even 3, because they're down on their luck, Ajax. It depends, I suppose, in some ways how badly we want it. How if there's an easy pass to go back and keep it, is it worth risking? I don't know. You want to do the right thing every time you get the ball, but when the game's done, the game's done. Everyone knows. Everyone in this stadium knows this game's over.
Esteval coming in from the right once again, puts a left-footed cross in towards the penalty area, headed clear by Sitalo, knocked back down by Achampong to Lavia to control, back with Achampong once again. Esteval again finding space away on the right and just checks his way inside, rather runs into Bass there and doesn't get the free kick he wants, but the Bass clearance goes straight to Fofana. He finds Lavia forward to Bonanotte, space over on the left-hand side here for Gittins to get a cross in, work back to George now, just twisting and turning on the edge of the area, tries to find Achampong and does. Achampong shot takes a deflection and loops and is gathered under the bar by the goalkeeper.
Yeah, really good play on the edge of their box, moving it from the right to the left, then it comes across the edge of the box, played out from Gittins into Santos, into Lavia and Achampong. He gets a yard of space. I think maybe the fact that he scored his first goal for Chelsea may well have gone to his head a little bit there, Dave. The shot was on, by the way, I have to say, but he has an extra touch. In doing so, was closed down and well defended. I'm guessing that Esteval would have been disappointed not to have received it out here. It looks like there's going to be another substitution.
Yes, indeed. So Maresca is just making final preparations on that one. But at the moment, 62 played. 5-1 at the scoreline in Chelsea's favour, and they've lost that one away, and it's McConnell darting forward down the right-hand side. Oh, but a really poor ball, square across straight up to Lavia. Lavia brings it away for Chelsea. Andre Santos back to Lavia once again. He finds Santos, space forward for Bonanotte. Ajax getting men back into their shape. Bonanotte tries to spray it out towards the right, where Esteval controls it well, does superbly well there, and now he's away again. Esteval trying to go in between 2 defenders, goes round the outside, and now might get to the byline here. Esteval across, and that will be a corner for Yuri Bass.
See how physically he's up for that challenge when he goes. He's not the biggest, but boy, will he dig. He's not afraid to go shoulder to shoulder with whoever he comes across. Just looking at Lavia now, he played 45 at the weekend, and another one, those minutes might need to be managed. He's navigated his way through over an hour here tonight. Slowly but surely we're seeing the return of him, maybe starting in big games. Anyway, corner Chelsea.
Here comes the Esteval corner in towards the near post. Keeper came, got nowhere near it, still bouncing around the penalty area, but finally it's driven clear by Sitalo up towards well, so in fact chested straight, it's brought straight back down by Gittins. Excellent there by Gittins for Chelsea, and it's played out to him again now on the left by Tyreek George. Gittins cuts inside onto his right foot, low shot, no power onto it, straight to Pasveer in goal.
Yeah, he got shouldered, got barged as the ball goes in, fairly by the way.
Reggie Walsh is about to come on for Chelsea.
I don't understand that from the
giving instructions on that one.
Yeah, I don't understand the goalkeeper. It would not surprise me if Lavia comes off at all. I think that just made the point there. Here we go. Esteban get 1v1.
In once again, waiting for delivery here. Could create something as he cuts inside onto his left foot. Still going on the edge of the area. Looks to flick it through. Esteban was superb there. Lavia has it now. Lavia chips it forward, and the keeper again off his line has got some connection. In fact, now we've got a clash between the keeper and defender. Two Ajax players both down. Referees stop the game, and Lucas Rosa coming in to try and help his keeper. They've ended up colliding with each other, and the physio is about to come on again.
Yeah, it was a collision. Esteban coming on this right-hand side, going right the way across, maybe 7 or 8 yards outside the box. Look at the shape up to get his shot away with that left foot as he cuts across. Can't quite get it away. Plays it to Lavia. And there's the goalkeeper comes out. It was actually...
That would be a penalty if it was an opponent.
Yeah.
Lavia is coming off, as you correctly called moments ago. So Lavia has got through, 65 minutes here this evening. And Reggie Walsh is going to come on. So, what a great opportunity for him.
This has been a dream for Maresca. In terms of how this game, not just the result, but in terms of the substitutions he's been allowed to make, the players that he's got a rest for. It could not, honestly, if you had asked him how you wanted this game to go in terms of players you wanted minutes to play, Lavia, players that you wanted to give a rest, Reece James, Cucurella, and the fact that he's got to play some experience in Casado, bring him off after 4 minutes. Honestly, this has been an absolute dream for him. And if you're Sunderland, you'd be looking at this thinking, okay, right, your team is now, maybe there are injuries, no doubt, but you're going to put out the team that you had. If you had a wish list, this is how it's gone.
And also perhaps make things slightly easier based on some performances here for team selection decisions for Wolves in the in a week's time.
Absolutely, Dave. There's going to be, and this side is a Conference League team that we put out here. But we can afford to do it.
It's back to what they were doing, isn't it, this time last year?
Yeah, I mean, you're not going to get away with that against Barcelona at the end of November, right? Of course you're not. But you can afford to slowly make your way through, and it's about navigating and about picking the right players. I mean, we've not mentioned Fofana. You know, Fofana's, he's coming back from a serious injury. I mean, he looks like he's going to play 90 minutes. Now, he won't start against Sunderland. At the moment, it feels like Achampong and Chalobah. That's what it feels like right here, right now. Chalobah's come off the bench, don't forget. So is Achampong. So yeah, he will be absolutely over the moon, Maresca, how this game has gone.
Leading by 5-1 midway through the second half. We're back in play with the two Ajax players, including the goalkeeper, having been attended to, and Chelsea trying to play it forward once again, looking for Esteban, who's been so involved in this second half. Ajax have picked it up again on their left with Yuri Bas. Yuri Bas playing it back to Sutalo, back to keeper Pasveer, up towards halfway it goes, where Klaassen tries to hold the ball up. Got a nudge there by Chalobah, in fact, who's picked him a knock himself at this stage. Players going on with Andre Santos in midfield, finding Josh Achampong in the centre circle.
Achampong's the one that stepped inside. Hato's had a very steady but easy evening's work, I think it's fair to say.
That's the case. There's more experience there, even with Achampong, who's played this system with Chelsea for a while. Whenever he's been coming to the team, we've seen him play in 3 or 4 different roles.
Yes, indeed. He can play right back. He can play centre half. Even in the Conference League, I've seen him play centre midfield. He's a very, very accomplished young man.
And on the ball now, cutting in field and almost running into a couple of Ajax players. Chelsea win it back anyway with Santos towards Hato, and goes to Gittins now away on the left-hand side, and that will be a Chelsea corner over on the far side.
Yeah, Rossa does well actually. He's about 3. He's not too tight. I thought Gittins might have another touch and then go past him. That's been a battle that Gittins has largely won, but on that particular occasion, Rosa was equal to him. Corner, Chelsea, Esteban, the new fans' favourite, by the way. Yeah, absolutely. Well, he's got everything that you love in a footballer, isn't he? Anyway, he's taking it. It's going to be an outswinger.
Esteban with the Chelsea corner here with 69 minutes on the clock, and everyone crowds the penalty area now as the corner kick comes in. Achampong going over the header, it was half away, but Anote couldn't quite shoot. Klaassen again got it to about 20 yards out. Ball bounces, everyone jumps for it and doesn't quite control, but in the end Chelsea do regain possession, and it's worked out towards the right hand side. First touch for Reggie Walsh. Walsh in towards the right once again, and Tyreek George now delivers the ball into the penalty area, and it goes right across the face of goal, and in the end it goes past the far post. Esteval denied there. Wow, that was so nearly 6.
Brilliant play from Tyreek George on the right hand side. He's got space, he drives. As soon as he gets there, little step over, needs a yard, drills it across the face of the 6-yard box. It makes it all the way to the far left hand side, where Esteval has now adopted his position, and because of the set piece, and he just drills it across where the ball comes from, goes beyond the post where the ball was delivered from. I mean, 3 or 4 yards, that's 6. Yeah, I can't. There's another goal in this game.
You have to think so.
Yeah, there's 20, there's 70 on the clock right now. There's 20 plus, probably 23, 24 left of this game. I just, especially with the amount of fresh legs that Chelsea have had come on, and like I said to you, you're Buonanotte, you want your first Champions League goal.
Definitely.
Achampong looks like he might get a strike away.
Santos towards the left, and Gittins now to run against Rother, and Gittins gets to the byline now, tries to twist inside. Gittins still in possession here. Rother coming to make a challenge. Gittins though still has it, looking to lay it square. Santos can't quite get it through. Really crowded penalty area there.
It's got to come out again, because they're so narrow now, and they've got to be, because they don't have that extra man in the middle of the park. I think that once you've drawn them narrow, the best side I've ever seen do it that, in fact the Pep Guardiola side, at Barcelona, where they draw you in and there's a runner that runs in behind the fullback. City do it very, very well. He was brilliant at Kyle Walker. The fullbacks just getting on that run in behind, because they've drawn you so narrow. Can we just move that ball out wide?
Flick forward to Tyreek George, he must be offside as he controls the flag has gone up.
That's the run I'm talking about, where you run from out to in, and you run, it's angled. You're not running because you're coming from deep. You can time your run. Doesn't quite time it on that particular occasion. But that's the ball. I'm talking higher up the pitch, where you slide the ball in.
Santos for Chelsea. Ajax gave the ball away straight away from their free kick, and now Chelsea do pick it up with Tyreek George on the right, trying to go past the fullback. George, in fact, now gets it back to Achampong. Fofana now. Fofana to Santos, pinging it out towards the left, and here is Gittins to come inside again in the area now. Gittins might have a chance for a shot now onto his right foot, turns once again. Gittins looks to poke
Slightly
it through.
Overcomplicating it, aren't we?
Yeah, Santos has it.
Out wide again, come out again.
Achampong to George, so George playing out wide now with Esteval coming in field, and George might get it back here. There's a chance for a first time ball through by Achampong, went back to Fofana instead. Short ball to Chalobah. Chalobah midway inside the Ajax half. Buonanotte tries to hold the ball up and wins the free kick there for the foul by Itakura. Chelsea will get a free kick here.
Yeah,
about 25 yards out.
Yeah, you've got Esteval down, and George has come out to this right-hand side. Gittins has stayed left. There is a chance for a strike on goal.
It's long, yeah, it's more like 30.
It's just that area, Dave, where you think maybe another 4 or 5 yards out, you probably don't. But because of the scoreline, you think maybe? What do you think?
You think Esteval might have a party piece here from range, potentially,
you got
Santos.
Well,
yeah, Esteval moves away.
I think because of the scoreline, because of the pitch, I think it's worth a dig, you know.
It's about 30 yards out.
Yeah, you're talking 30 yards here, Dave.
Tyreek George is standing, the only player in the area, and being told by the referee he can't obstruct the goalkeeper's view here.
I don't know why the referee's got to tell him.
He should know that anyway.
No, but don't even tell him. It's not his job.
So here's Santos with the free kick from range. In fact, it's going to be taken by Esteval into the wall, so that was a dummy there by Santos, and in the end Esteval took it, so much to do there about nothing, but Chelsea has still got the ball once again as Gittins tries to get the ball into the penalty area, and it flicks past everyone there. That was one of those that could have gone into the corner. In the end, Esteval sliding in, ends up in the net himself, but the ball goes out for a goal kick.
What a delivery this is. It's such a beautiful ball from Gittins. He's on that right side, he's about 10 yards outside the way. He whips it towards that far post. Arriving as Esteval, slides it, he actually gets a touch on it. He gets something on it, another half a yard, he gets enough on it.
And now Ajax here around the back on the counter. It's played back by Morrow, and thankfully for Chelsea, there's no one there. That was a rare break in the second half for Ajax, and almost created a chance for them, but Chelsea will now come forward on the counter themselves. Tariq George, infield from the right. Options are square of him. One of them is Santos. He finds Walsh. Buonanotte, I should say. Buonanotte, was looking for Gittins, but went well beyond him. And straight through to
overcomplicating it a little bit, I think. Like, everyone, I made the point that there's goals in this game. Everyone probably feels there's something. Maybe slightly overdoing it a little bit, and that is a really. I'm being micro criticism here. I'm because it's the next pass, and sometimes the next pass there's an extra touch instead of the pass, and I get it because it's so easy out there, so comfortable out there. It's almost impossible not to have an extra touch.
Lovely touch by Buonanotte. It's worked forward now for a shot which the keeper Clay Esteval is denied once again, and I think it rather hit the goalkeeper and went behind for a corner. Absolutely lovely swinging move by Chelsea, but Esteval again can't quite get that goal from open play.
No, he can't. It's a brilliant strike. Oh, it does hit the goalkeeper. Yeah. He's going the right way. The ball's shifting. There's a little bit of space on the right-hand side that they try to exploit, but they give the ball away. Acres in front of Esteval. Has a touch, drills it into the box. Keeper gets his left shoulder as opposed to his hands in front of it. Does enough though to prevent the ball hitting the back of the net. Chelsea have another set piece. Esteval has come over. There is 14 minutes left of this game.
Here comes the corner from Esteval into the area, headed away for another corner straight away. That was Itakura with the header at the near post. Behind it goes for a Chelsea corner again with 14 minutes to go, as you say. A second consecutive corner is taken short at close range as Esteval tries to play it across, goes beyond everyone. Liverpool are now 5-1 up in Frankfurt. That's quite a scoreline. Spurs still goalless in Monaco. That's the latest from elsewhere in the Champions League. Reggie Walsh tries to play it out towards Esteval, comes up on this right-hand side, just took the corner in fact. Esteval cuts in field now on his left foot, shoots straight at the keeper. You get the feeling he wants a goal here. It won't quite happen.
He wants to go and open play.
Yeah.
He's not playing the penalty. Yeah, he cuts inside. Brilliant first control with his chest, brings it under his belt, and that numeric advantage now is it's shown for pretty much all the time, but the longer the game goes on, you can see this game, they're tiring, they're
Lovely
fatiguing.
From Buonanotte, again a great shot from him. He now moves towards the edge of the area, tries to play it through, Bill Backheel, Buonanotte can't quite get it back. It was glorious stuff there, and it's going to be retrieved away on the right hand side for Chelsea once again. Esteval, who's always in possession there it seems, knocks it back to Achampong. It's so nearly six as Achampong finds Andre Santos. Santos to Gittins, now left corner of the area. Buonanotte, who's had 2 or 3 marvellous touches in the last few moments. Here's Buonanotte once again trying to feed the ball right across towards the far side, and Esteval will retrieve just outside the area. Ajax defending for all they can here, but they're pretty much gone. They
have gone. Their legs, they're fatiguing. They've been down to 10 men for a long time. There's another big chance in this game for Chelsea. No question, maybe 2 actually, Dave. There's still 14 minutes left of this game.
Fofana out towards the right now, and Tariq George to attack the tired Ajax back line as he cuts inside once again, tries to go around the outside, and Yuri Bas sticks to his task and forces him back out towards the right, but George gets it back and now exchanges passes with Achampong. Achampong finding Fofana, who thought about a ball clipped forward but instead lays it square to Santos. Santos with lots of space to work into. Now Achampong outside the area trying to flick it through, looking for the run of Reggie Walsh.
He thought about a shot. Yeah, and I think that maybe that last shot that he attempted, he decided no, and he tried to flick out to George, who's on the ball now.
Tariq George gets it back now from Achampong, combines with Reggie Walsh. George once again playing it back to Fofana. Fofana finds Chalobah. Chalobah invited to go on and run forward. Achampong now 25 yards out towards George on the Chelsea right. Ball in towards the far post, driven far too long beyond Gittins, out for a throw down the far side.
Yeah, a selection of cross there. There's too much height, too much pace. Yeah, that's missed everyone out. That sort of cross has got to be from a deeper area, maybe even a little bit wider. He's a little bit too narrow. Not criticising it, it's just he's got it wrong.
Ajax have withdrawn James McConnell, who was, have to say, running his socks off this evening. He has been replaced by Yuri Regier for the final 11 minutes of play, and it will be a throw-in for Ajax away on the right, deep inside their own half. Maresca watching on, doesn't give too much away expression-wise, especially on a night like this. It's not quite the dramatic 2-1 goal against Liverpool when everything went mad. Everyone went mad. But tonight it's calm satisfaction at this stage as Tyreek George gets Chelsea forward again to Reggie Walsh. Walsh back to George again, right corner of the area, cutting in field, moving it central, might get it back here from Santos. Here's Walsh. Walsh playing it back. Ajax putting a wall of players on the edge of the area.
They want the full-time whistle.
Chelsea play it forward with Chalabar. Buonanotte tries to hold the ball up. It's knocked down by the substitute Regier. They've lost one. They've gained it back just about with Mokia playing it forward, but they just drive it forward and Chelsea win it back.
They've gone. I mean, they've been gone for some time now. It almost feels cruel, doesn't it? Still 10 minutes left in this game, you know. And I want to see 6. That's what I want to see. I want a 6th goal.
Santos to Buonanotte to Walsh, out towards the right, and George again, edge of the area. Got to 5 in front of him. He goes for goal, takes a deflection, and goes out for a corner with 10 minutes to go. I will make an outlandish prediction. There won't be too much stoppage time here at 5-1. We'll see 1 or 2 minutes at most, I think.
Yeah, the 2 fullbacks, Rosser and Bass, mate. Honestly, I've got so much sympathy for those 2 boys. They have gone through some work because now the width of that pitch is being used to its absolute maximum. Gittins is always on the ball. Tyreek George has come out. Now Esteval's down the middle of the pitch. George has got loads of space out here.
Corner with just over 9 minutes to play, and this time it's going to go into the area. Short option was there with players now moving back in. Hato was offering it. It comes by Esteval towards the near post, and Hato was there, and it's flicked off a Ajax defender. They were hoping for a goal kick there.
I thought it was a goal kick,
but it will be a corner.
I thought it was a goal kick. I thought that come off the Chelsea leg. The Ajax fans away to our left up. They're doing their best. Taking short.
Short, and here's Buonanotte. Gets it back now on the edge of the area from Santos, goes down. Referee not interested in that, so a chance for a break here for Ajax, who've got 3 coming forward. That's excellent challenging back there for Chelsea by Hato, who was well out of position, but came across towards the Chelsea right. The Ajax left to make that challenge. The throw-in goes Ajax's way. Regier back into Bass, and Bass all the way back to the keeper. Pasveer has it.
All they can do is go backwards, you know, and eventually they have to come forward. So this is an area where I feel that they're probably the most vulnerable. If they give a ball away in this area, trying to have men in advanced areas, that Chelsea have got the legs and that numeric advantage to hurt. However, they're continually coming forward.
Haven't got the power of Beckles, who was holding up in the first half. He went off at half-time, and they're giving it away. So, Santos for Chelsea. Buonanotte gives it back to him. Here's Achampong. George has space on the right. It goes short to Santos instead, now to Walsh. Walsh invited to move further forward. And Esteval cropping up on the left now to combine with Gittins. And can he get across in? We have seen some good delivery from the left-hand side. He's taking on Rosa. Rosa is trying to stick to his task. Ball back is beyond Hato. Finds Chalabar. Now for Fana. Chelsea continue to knock the ball around here in the closing 10 minutes of play, leading by 5-1 in what's been an absolute cruise in the end. All the meaningful action drama came in the first half. Chelsea playing it forward to Tyreek George on the right-hand side. George getting towards the byline now. Cross takes deflection into the area. Acrobatic overhead kick goes wide. It's that man again. Esteval just wide.
Inches wide. Well, acrobatic. Brilliant improvisation. It does take a wicked deflection, moves the ball out the right-hand side. Tyreek George does a step over, gets to cross him, takes a wicked deflection, goes in the end. Tyreek Esteval there with it. Oh, wow, it's not a million. It's about a foot wide, Dave, I'd say. What a great opportunity. Oh, wow. Can you imagine if that had gone in? It's the presence of mind. Some players have got that improvisation built in their head, that, you know, moments can just appear and they have a decision that's already half made. He's
couple of changes here for the visitors. Mika Götz going off to replaced by Kian Fitzgerald. And also at fullback, Lucas Rossa is replaced by Anton Guy. So a couple of late changes here for Ajax, who are going to be on 3 defeats out of 3 in the Champions League. They've got Galatasaray in their next game. Chelsea make the trip to Qarabag next time, which will be an interesting test. And of course, you mentioned it before, the home game against Barcelona is also looming on the fixture list, not too far away. So big test to come when you combine that with important Premier League games as well, and the Carabao Cup. Games thick and fast in and around this period before the November break. But so far so good after the win at Forest on Saturday. Big win here tonight. Sunderland at the Bridge on Saturday. 3 o'clock start. 6 to go, 5.5. Played back to Pasveer. 5-1 in Chelsea's favour. Ajax trying to play out from the back here. And Achampong coming in with the challenge. Throwing will go to Ajax on the left, which Yuri Bass will take. Just over 5 minutes to go here. And again, Chelsea have game which changed on the red card, no doubt about it, and the fact that Chelsea scored 2 goals very shortly after that red card, and the 2 late penalties in the first half, and then Tyreek George just after the break making it 5. At the moment, Ajax have avoided further damage for the last half hour or so. Both the 2 coaches are on the touchline at the moment as Ajax work it back to their goalkeeper. Estevao still full of running after 85 minutes, chasing down.
Yeah, his energy levels, he's encouraging, isn't he? He chases everything. It's a brave thing, I tell you that.
Pass fair forward for Ajax, but that's given away and headed back to the goalkeeper. Calm stuff there by Regier, getting it back to Pasveer. Pasveer just being invited to get rid of the ball here by Estevao. He's always on his feet, always moving around, and now moving up towards the left to try and close down, with Tyreek George going central as Ajax try and play it out, almost get themselves into a tangle, and they may have done so. Have they got a free kick there? That's rather fortunate if they have.
Oh, he's a lucky boy, by the way.
I mean, quite why you're doing that at this stage of play.
You can't be doing Cruyff when you've got 2 players around you in your own box and you're out 10 men.
No.
That is not advisable.
Anyway, Yuri Bass playing it back to Pasveer, but there's been little or no intent from Ajax to go and try and score a goal in the second half. It has been purely damage limitation. In that respect, they've only let in 1 goal so far as the ball's played forward long, and it'll be a very rare touch for Philip Jorgensen outside his area to play it out towards the left-hand side. Still unchanged elsewhere. Liverpool 5-1 up in Frankfurt. Big result for them, and Spurs level 0-0 in Monaco at the moment. 86.5 minutes played. Chelsea 5, Ajax 1 here at Stamford Bridge. And Chelsea in possession once again with Achampong on halfway. Centre circle, left-hand side, right-hand side now to Tyreek George. Tyreek George forward. He'll flick back by Reggie Walsh, who's had some neat touches since he came on, to be fair.
Yeah, it's a nice game to come on to, isn't it? It's you know, come on, no pressure. The game is won. Go and show your skill set.
And play most of it, all of it, in the opponent's half. So even if you do lose it, there's no great drama.
Indeed.
But anyway, great experience for him. And Chelsea with the ball, with 3 to go. It's played forward, looking for Estevao. Can he get the goal from play here? Estevao bursting forward, taken down, is he? Referee thinking about it, nothing given.
Gets the ball. Good challenge. Really, really good challenge. Got to get it.
And now, break could be on, but Fofana deals with it very quickly indeed. And Chelsea deal with that break. Andre Santos playing it back to Chalobah. Estevao trying to burst in between 2 defenders there. And in the end, the challenge was fair. 2 minutes to go. Champong for Chelsea. George in plenty of space on this right. George coming infield now from the right-hand side for Chelsea. Turns away, back to goal. Being faced by 2 defenders. Support from Achampong, who moves central. Lays it square to Andre Santos. Santos gets it back then from Walsh. Santos forward to Bernanotte. Might fall to Walsh once again. Going to be cleared by Itakura. Knocked back to the goalkeeper. Pasveer whacks it forward. That's all he can do. There was no one forward. They took off their course to half-time. So a long ball forward is never going to get to...
That's winding the clock down.
Yeah.
That's all that is. There's there's a minute and a half left, and then whatever the referee decides to add on. What do you guess? I'm guessing at 3.
at the most.
Yeah, there's been some
There have been substitutions. There is certainly cause for the 3 or 4 minutes, but
maybe,
we know when the scores are like, are like this.
Maybe it's the 2 minutes. Yeah.
At least the rain appears to have eased, which is good news for the supporters who are going to make their way out of the bridge to the station or whatever. It's nowhere near as torrential as it was over in the second half. Played out towards the right-hand side, and here's Tariq George once again. Is there a late goal in this for Chelsea to hit Ajax for 6, I wonder? Reggie Walsh has it for the Blues. He's about 25-30 yards out, playing it back to Tariq George. George for Fofana. Fofana lays it square to Trevor Chalobah. Chalobah to Santos. It's keep ball possession stuff here for Chelsea. And a lovely flick back there by Esteval, looking to feed it through to Achampong, who was the furthest one forward. Just went through to the goalkeeper there in the end. And Klaassen now trying to hold the ball up and does well down the left for Ajax. In comes the foot by Santos, and Chelsea win it back down their right.
Yeah, hunting and pack, Santos and Esteval coming over this right-hand side, right on the halfway line, right in front of manager Maresca.
Reggie Walsh forward over halfway. Esteval again. Tariq George. We're in the last minute. We're about to find out how much stoppage time there's going to be. Esteval midway inside the Ajax half. Lays it square to Santos. Now Trevor Chalobah.
Relies on the fourth official.
Yeah, 5 minutes. Wow, there you go.
Wow.
5 minutes, 5 goals. So we'll see how many more we're going to get. Here's Tariq George in from the right-hand side. George coming in onto his left foot, being forced out of the area. Ajax have got everyone back defending.
Yeah, they literally camped on the edge of their boxes. There's no space.
Chalobah trying to play it through, headed back by Bass to the goalkeeper Pasveer, who throws out towards the left-hand side. And Fitzjim, one of the most recent arrivals, cuts inside Achampong, and then goes back to his defender Yuri Bass and played back to Pasveer in goal. So 5 minutes of stoppage time. We're in the first of those. It's 5-1, as it has been since the 48th minute, when Tariq George struck home, deflected to make it 5-1 in favour of Chelsea, and their second win of this Champions League stage, I think we now call it. It's not really a group stage anymore because everyone plays in the same group. Foul by Santos on Itakura, and it will be 2 wins out of 3 from the 8-game schedule. And certainly based on scores elsewhere in the Champions League group stages tonight. Of course, not all the games have completed so far, but Chelsea are going to be sitting in 11th place in the table, but on the same number of points as Newcastle, are currently in 8th place. So there's a host of teams on 6 points, and put Chelsea right in the frame to try and make that automatic qualification.
Yeah, after 3 games, it's going to be very, very tight. There are still some big games for Chelsea. Napoli away in that final group stage, of course. They've got Atalanta, Barcelona, Qarabag, of course.
Here come Ajax with a long ball forward, trying to test out Haito there, and Haito has actually done well to pass that test against Raul Moro. Gets it back to Jorgensen, and Jorgensen will drive it away right-footed, and that's asking a lot there for Tariq George, which he can't keep it in play. Goes out for a throw into Ajax down by the halfway line, trying to take it midway inside the Chelsea half, but referee not happy with that. Lets him throw it back, in fact, into his own half. So Ajax in possession, and it's Reguer playing it back into the back line. Sitalo to Itakura. Bit of possession here for Ajax, driven forward and straight through to Philip Jorgensen. No damage there at all.
No, 2.5 of the 5 played, 2.5 remaining. And this game is, I think both sides now. The referee blew now. I don't think anyone would complain.
George for Chelsea has been the most involved really probably since he came on second half, since he switched to the right-hand side.
Yeah, he's seen a lot of the ball, hasn't he?
Yeah. But he's been frustrated with trying to force through. Here come Chelsea again, though, with Hato for Santos. Santos to Achampong. Achampong to Tariq George again on the right, looking for delivery here, attacking towards the byline, gets towards the byline now. Again, he's being held up by Reguer. Yeah, and took a knock to his head there, actually.
They've stopped that ball coming in the box, haven't they? They've stopped that out. Look, getting on the outside, it's been their main since they've got conceded the 5th.
Chalobah for George again. George goes short towards it. There a flicked across there by Bonanotte into the arms terms of pass here, and we have about a minute and a half to go of stoppage
90
time.
seconds remaining. Well, I think it's time to just summarise, Dave, what's been a very comfortable and easy night's work, largely down to the fact that Ajax went down to 10 men. But you did feel that there's a pattern emerging in the game even before they got that red card, and then of course we punished them, double whammy for them, red card, and then of course Gio getting his first Champions League goal for Chelsea. I believe he has scored for Barcelona.
Yes, correct. That's Reggie Walsh going down, no free kick given, so Ajax clear down their left. One back once again, and Achampong to Buonanotte. Bit of a tangle there, and it may well see Ajax break away down there right in the final minute now of stoppage time, and Morrow has it now, trying to cut in field, and that's going to go out for a goal kick in the end. Chelsea keeping their second half clean sheet intact, and we have seconds to go.
Yeah, I think as Jorgensen clears this downfield, I think the referee would have decided he has seen enough. No, we're playing it out from the back. That won't happen. Yeah, comfortable from Maresca. As I said earlier, Dave, this is a game that could not have gone. It's an absolute dream for Maresca, the way this game has gone. Coming through with not just only flying colours, but every single Chelsea player either getting the minutes he wants or the minutes that he needs to take out for a big game. Looking ahead to that game, that is full-time, Chelsea 5, Ajax 1. Looking ahead now, that's how